And I said, that was last week we talked about it. And what? Oh, my apologies. What is going on? You, tube, world. That guy, Brad, 8671. Steve, Vinny, C. We're all going to talk some food tonight. I know. Stunning turn of events. I mean, it's like, and this will be the one thing drama in politics or drama with economic status or something. Shocking. Nope, we're going to talk about food.
I'm glad everybody's sitting down.
I know.
I know.
And I'm glad nobody's like sitting on a like the railing of a bridge on or a high rise or something and they'd fall over off the edge because they're just stunned. Um, so yeah, more food talk.
On a positive note, 110. We're at 110.
Starting
I noticed it earlier. We're moving on up. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
you're generating some views, which I like. And again, I don't know if it's because you throw in the national in the headline. Because
It was
people
Ed last week. It was
Ed
Ed last week.
for sure in the thumbnail. Um, I know this week I put the one card that Brad did not bid on that time that we said bid on it.
I actually did notice that.
I'm just like, come on now.
Yes,
we don't
Ed.
give the advice for you not to take the fucking advice.
That was a jab. That was a jab.
Yeah. Hall of Fame or not, that doesn't fucking matter. That
It was well done, though. That was well done. Well played. I did notice, though.
I hope so. If you didn't, I'd be like, wow. Doing watermelon displays really took it out of you then.
No, well, it does. I can't even feel my shoulders anymore.
It's horrendous. It's the grocery business is such a stupid business.
Yep.
I mean, it's littered with idiots. I mean, again, it's every sector of life, but it is so. I mean, I'll have a pallet, and again, it's probably 6.5 feet high. So on top, I've got like the bread, some like treats, like a Danish or stuff like that, donuts that are frozen that come in frozen. On top of that, there's like 3 cases of like fucking pork loin that are like 50 pounds each. So shoulders are destroyed as it is after nearly 19 years of this beautiful job. So I'm doing that. Or there's turkeys up there. And of course turkeys. It's not like a nice compact box where they're not moving around. You pick it up and it's like a jug of water. All that weight comes to the one side, and it's like, oh, that's perfect. My shoulder loves being reamed that direction. So I know I won't feel it later on. So, yeah, grocery sucks.
Speaking of sucks. Okay, no, I was kidding. Bad choice of segue.
But you thought there's another card you saw on that placeholder, and
Yes.
I see that player, and I only see one player, one person in the community. I mean, even back to like prior to YouTube, I didn't know. And again, it's not like he was on there, or he came out what 07, 08, 08, 09, somewhere in there as a rookie. And I didn't know anybody that collected them. And then there's only one guy I've ever heard that collects them, and I've been trying to get him on the show for ages. Trying, and I mean, it's been a death grip, and it's like, come on, man, come on. I feel like Keyshawn Johnson all the time, or Randy Moore. Like, come on, man. Finally get him on the show. I'll let you do the honors, Steve.
Making his IRP debut. We'd like to welcome to the show at this time our good friend and everybody else's. She blinded me with refractors. Our good friend Andy.
What's up, guys? What an intro. It's like, I'm not quite sure. Were you taking shots at my guy or were you taking shots at me? I'm not, I mean,
No, never shots. It's you look around and you see basketball collectors, and it's always Steph, LeBron, Jordan, and then whoever the hot rookies are.
there's like 3 or 4 of us.
But that's the thing. It's not like 1,500, and then by the end of the week, there's 3.
Yeah.
So
Very
It-
very niche.
that in your name. I mean, it's the insert revolution. Refractors, very heavy in that time space.
True refractors, using the correct nomenclature of refractor, mind you. Sorry, I had to get that out.
Not a Panini Prism refractor or a Topps Chrome Silver. I mean, you're close.
Or a hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So-
have a lot of fun names for them now.
Oh, yeah. You
But
have
the
fun.
problem is, Andy, and you mentioned something in the prior to us going live. I'm not gonna like touch on that aspect, but for seasoned collectors or seasoned hobbyists, I should say, most of us, I would venture to say, on this panel, and I'm guessing here for you, Andy, because first time you and I have really had a chance to interact. But I would say all 5 of us have at least 30 plus years of hobby collecting experience at a minimum. Okay. Is that fair? I know Dave. I know where Dave is. I know where I am. I know where Vinny is. Brad, I know is about the same.
The first pack of cards I bought was 1987.
Okay. So well over 30 years.
Yeah.
When you try and engage some of these people, like on Instagram, for instance, and they're again, and you try and educate them when they post something and they claim something to be a refractor, you're not doing it to be a jerk. You're trying to share information. You're trying to teach them. You're not a dick. You're not disrespectful. They don't like it. Heaven forbid you try and correct them. When they post something that's a hollow or a prism or whatever, and they claim it as a refractor, or a card that's not even a refractor that they claim to be a refractor. It's like, I mean, you almost want to say, hey, moron. No, that's not a refractor. That's just an insert card. Please try again.
Honestly, I wish I got more of those type of questions than the ones that I actually get, because and this was even more so like, over the last couple of years, like especially during the pandemic and stuff, like there would be 2 things that I would get asked about on Instagram through messages. People would ask me, how much is this worth? Or should I buy this? That's it. And my response would be, do you like it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know what they're looking for. I know what kind of, what their angle is, but I'm just like, I'm not going to play that game because none of us know the answers to those questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I think that a lot of people learned the hard way. People that thought they knew found out, yeah, maybe nobody knows.
Well, it's all subjective anyways in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
What is your purpose of your question? Like you said, do you like it? If the answer is yes, then okay, then buy it.
Yeah.
Are you asking because of potential increase in value? Last time I checked, none of us can read the future, so you're asking the wrong person, because all of us have gone through the ups and downs of collecting over the years, and nothing to the extreme of what we saw during the pandemic, of course. But even then, it's like nobody predicted this. I don't give a damn who you are or what freaking plateau you think you're on from an investor or a flipper perspective, nobody freaking knew that this was going to happen. Nobody. And if they said that they did, they're a bunch of liars.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Speculation, maybe. Okay, I could see somebody posting, during this time of the country being closed down, some alternative asset classes could come out of this, but nobody predicted it would be the card space.
No.
Or Marvel cards when that freaking blew up through the roof. Nobody knew. Most of us knew that we were going to start seeing a gradual decline over a time span. We all who've been here knew this was coming.
Yeah.
What goes up must come down eventually.
100%. It's the same thing with the stock market. It's the same thing with the price of the dollar, the Canadian dollar, the British pound. It all is cyclical. It all has its peaks and valleys. Everything does. So it's like, come on, folks. Come on. We all could have been rich if we would have just been that guy who went out there and created a YouTube channel and talked about all this positivity and all this stuff that's going to the moon and blah, blah, blah. We all could have been rich.
Yeah.
But we're not those people.
I think I probably know the answer to this, but for each of you four guys, like what do you guys feel about the current state of YouTube as far as like the sports card community goes?
Ooh.
Spicy.
I've noticed
Brad.
every single new channel that comes up, it's all the same. It's all one of two things. It's vintage baseball guys showing off their collection, which is cool. At least their collectors seem like wonderful people, but that's all it is.
Yep.
And then the second one is, in some form or fashion, here's me going to a card show, or here's my advice about the hobby. That's basically the only two new channels of the last year or so. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, hey, go check this guy out. I'm like, all right, new guy. I love checking out new guys. It's always the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I can only do so much of it, guys. I can only do so much.
Yep. Vinny?
If I ever turned on a channel and saw someone show a LaDainian Tomlinson autograph, I would just lose my mind.
Yeah,
Yes.
fall out of your
I
chair.
would make a separate video telling you to go sub to this guy. You know?
Well, and kind of to your point, Brad, I think a lot of people think that just because they haven't seen it before, that it hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think everything they do is new.
The other day, a guy was giving a tutorial on why it says the word prime on the cards. He had like a 2011 certified card.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't know why it said the word prime on there.
Yeah.
It was the greatest thing ever, man. I was like, yes.
The teaching
Teach
moment.
me, Yoda. Oh, wait, I already knew that. Thanks. Please try again. Vinny, your answer to Andy's question?
It's all crap. I haven't found a good new YouTube channel for a long time. If I do, it's hockey.
Which for you is okay.
And to me, the hockey guys are mostly, and I should say hockey gals and hockey people, they collect and they don't say, well, now you're finally seeing there's a couple Instagram guys that are rolling in that are saying record sales that don't float. So these people are grounded. They don't float. I don't need to know about the record sale of something. There hasn't been anybody but Leon Draisaitl, Pasta, and McKinnon since 2009 draft. I don't know. There's this guy named Andre Vasilevsky that's pretty good between him and Connor McDavid. And let's see. Oh, Brad Marchand. He's pretty decent. John Tavares, they're not bad.
Wasn't like the whole 2015 draft like full of future Hall of Famers? Like, didn't there like 7 of them? Just
15 was good, but the comment was made that there was only 3 people that were worth anything from 9 to, which there's not a ton, but between 09, 10 and 14, 15, there are still guys out there that had solid NHL careers. Some of the guys I named, it just, people don't want they want the $1,000 home run cards on every prospect. I'm sorry. It's like, what's his name? Tage Thompson, Dave?
Yeah.
17, 18. Okay, 17, 18. It took him till 2022 to light up.
Mm-hmm.
Why you save everything. In hockey, it takes a couple years. You got to get in the groove with the players. Look at Bertuzzi. He just signed a $5.5 million contract with the Leafs. The Leafs are loading up right now. They're going to go for a run. So it should be a lot of these guys that don't get the spotlight are going to start getting the spotlight. And then all of a sudden people are going to like, man, I should collect them or I should sell them. Well, make some good content. Like I said, the hockey guys I watch make good content, and most of them are within the last 3 or 4 years, and it's enjoyable. But other than that, it's the same old song, fiddle and guitar. It's like I'm grinding some more, grinding. Thank you, better half. See, she knows. Living in my mom's basement, grinding, eating at Morton's when I'm on the road, and then sucking down the ramen noodles when I'm back in mom's basement. It's hot rolls. Or
Hey,
send
don't
out
be-
some meatloaf.
Don't be knocking the ramen, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I didn't say there was anything wrong with ramen. I'm just telling you. That's
Another channel type that hasn't really been mentioned yet is, I like to think of it as like the CNBC type channel. It's just all the charts and the graphs and all that stuff. You feel like you're watching like, some
A
kind of
news station.
finance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, news station.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it. So my short answer to your question, Andy, is most of it's garbage, because they're rehashing other people's ideas that have made big splashes.
Yeah.
Flashy, this and that, speculation, top 5s, blah, blah, blah. They're basically copycatting a lot of other individuals. Whether you like them or not is irrelevant, but it's the same type of ideas and concept. Me, I'm a football guy. Not many football guys left. So,
No.
like, I'm like Brad. If somebody somehow, shape, form, or fashion, I stumbled across something on YouTube and it was football related, it's like, holy shit. Let's hope it doesn't suck. But even if it sucks, I'm still going to watch it because it's something that I'm interested in.
that's all they collect is quarterbacks.
But even then, it's still football related, and most people can't afford the big name quarterbacks all the time unless they got bukus of cash. Even then, I would still watch it because it's football. But I do find it interesting. Back when Dave and I started, and shortly after when Brad came into the mix, there was more football than baseball. Like 3-1 almost.
yeah, seeing the vintage baseball was a neat thing to see at that time.
Oh,
Like,
100%, because
different.
there wasn't a ton.
Now,
Absolutely,
like,
there
I've seen
wasn't
all
a ton.
the cards.
Yep. Now,
And I'm not knocking the people, by the way, because they're fantastic people. It's
Mhm.
just, again, that's all there is the last couple of years.
Brad,
Yeah.
we know you well enough to know you're not dogging the,
We're saying
the
that
people
for the
putting
guy.
out the content. But, and you're right, it's almost like all of a sudden vintage baseball has come out of the woodwork, and it's like the thing now.
Mhm.
It's really cool. I love listening to some of the history behind it. I grew up watching baseball as a kid. I still love the sport. Do I collect it? No. But there's still some interest. If it's just showing cards, I'll pass because it doesn't pique my interest as much. But if you're going to give some sort of educational aspect to said cards, the various color backs or, stuff that isn't mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaudis and T206s and Tops and Bowmans, there's enough information out there. You can go kind of read up on it yourself.
Yeah.
But, exhibits, some of the stamps, some of the other stuff that's kind of the oddballish, that piques my interest regardless of who the players are. Because most of the players of those eras, that era, I have no fucking idea who it is. If it ain't Babe Ruth or Honus Wagner or Tris Speaker or Ty Cobb, those guys, I don't even know who the fuck they are.
Right.
But I can admit that.
Yeah.
Baseball is not my sport. But at the same time, there are some good channels that are coming out that are being promoted by good people. But it's all fucking baseball. I'm tired of baseball. I would even be satisfied with more basketball channels.
Oh yeah.
It's weird because even during the whole peak, over the last couple of years, you would think, because basketball just went absolutely bonkers compared to everything else. But there never has been a lot of basketball card channels really either compared to baseball.
Yeah, even back in the day, all I remember is Tyson and Elon, basically, wasn't it?
BT.
Yeah,
Oh,
BT.
Yeah.
Chad because he broke it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chad broke a lot of
I
basketball.
mean, that's all right off the top I can even think of.
And then who? Well, Ike Love,
Oh,
Did-
yeah. Adam.
and then Addy Ball before they got run out of the Philippines.
Yeah, but I wouldn't count them either because
But they
was
broke
just-
a ton of exquisite.
you're right. But from a collecting standpoint,
Yeah.
I mean, Tyson was the biggest one out of all of them. And I would love to have a conversation with Tyson nowadays because he got rid of all his 90s Jordan shit
Mhm.
way too early. Way too early. But he was picking up all the high dollar shit that you see nowadays for, pennies on the dollar,
Oh yeah.
if you want to put it in that perspective.
Mhm.
And you name it, he had it. Durant patch autos, Jordan patch autos from Exquisite. You name it.
Kobe stuff.
Kobe's out the yin yang.
Mhm.
And on top of that, he still collected Strasburg because he was a Washington Nationals fan. He had the Clinton Portis PC. Not that you saw a whole lot of it, but he moved a lot of stuff too in the process to acquire other things. But he still maintained his collection.
Yeah.
But he is kicking himself in the ass after looking back of when he sold all his big name stuff.
Mhm.
He would be a multimillionaire. And that is not an exaggeration.
No.
For anybody on here who has no idea about Tyson NZ, his channel is still up. He was one of I'll call him a pillar. Anybody who had over 1,000 subs, we kind of considered a pillar.
It used to be a big deal.
Yep, and there wasn't a substantial number of people with 1,000 subs at that point in time.
No.
But Tyson NZ, go watch some of his stuff when it comes to basketball. You would literally shit yourself.
So what is it? Tyson and then NZ?
NZ, Nancy Zebra,
Okay.
Like New Zealand.
New
Yeah,
Zealand. Yep.
I'll definitely check him out. I'm not familiar with that channel. How long has he been off of YouTube?
10 years.
Oh,
10
okay.
years plus.
Yeah.
10 years plus. But he's a lot kind of like us, though. He liked to cuss a lot.
I don't
He
mind
just
that.
did it with an
But, you know-
accent, so it didn't sound as bad.
Is that your story, Brad? But no, I mean, Tyson was great people. Just, oh my God. And then, of course, there was Bubba Packs. Bubba Packs were the premier, like, mystery packs of the era. Expensive as shit. Expensive as shit.
So I'm always fascinated. I'm always fascinated when I hear you guys talk about that era of YouTube because, you know, I started watching YouTube like sports card stuff like, I don't know, probably around like 2015. Like I think one of the first people I remember watching was Nolan, Elite Co 3.
Mhm.
And but it's cool to hear these stories about that. And I was just curious, like how many of those guys that, even though they don't make videos anymore, how many of them still collect? Do you guys keep up with a lot of those guys still?
A small handful of them. Like, for instance, Sictifer Chris, he does cards here and there, but he's kind of altered. He's doing other things from a collecting space perspective. Will, I couldn't tell you. I know he was doing a lot of like magic stuff with him and his son for a while.
Mhm.
But like for me, my old phone, it crapped out. So some of my older contacts I lost. So like I haven't been able to keep in contact with a ton of them. But like Tyson, I'm pretty sure he hasn't collected in a while. Like he got out of the whole thing, last I recall. I mean, Tom's still doing his thing, but he's also a dealer now. I'm trying to think of the older guys that we used to interact with a lot. Nick,
Denny's
Jenny's
still collecting.
Jenny's still collecting. GSN Nick, I have no freaking clue.
No, that one. He's gonna start up his like food review channel or go sort of in that way, and then that just sort of shit out. Scott, I don't know if he does anything Rams anymore. I don't. I think. Well, I saw what's his name selling the the Josh Johnson I had sent him for the set. What's his name? Brett. Boston Broncos.
Boston
So
Broncos.
I don't know what he's doing. Jesse, Tammy husband. I think both Wilkie still collect. I think I'm guessing most still do something.
Dabble.
Yeah, but I mean it's going to be again at a show. When I went to Michael's wedding, Bob Wilkie was down there, and he was selling stuff, but he's also buying some stuff. So I mean, it's it's one of those where you can't, or a majority, a very strong majority, just can't break not to use the Lincoln Park thing, we can't break the cycle.
That's true.
You can get out for a while, you can like take a breather, but then if you were to go to a shop, or like a mall, you see a shop, you're like, oh, what's going on here? I mean, it's like a teleportation device back to whenever, boom, you see like 2 or 3 cards that you remember, you're gonna be like, oh, fuck, give me a couple packs and some top loads and some penny sleeves. Well, I guess I got my ticket for the roller coaster again, so let's go. But Paul, PDAS, he's always collected, went away. Again, a lot when Facebook got big, that was one of the things that did pretty much murder off a lot of the old YouTube
guys. Yep.
It was so much easier just to post in a fucking group, and you can just have your shenanigans there. You wouldn't have to make a video. You just be a dick there and razz each other there. And if you wanted to razz something there, you could razz it there without fucking going on Blog, which when Blog went under, that was another huge thing too, because then you had your hangout spot just like kicked to the curb. So then you go, hey, I'm getting on whatever, Facebook Live or whatever. I got this card. We've already filled the spots. I've got the comments here. I'm going to run it. Boom, done. You're done in a minute. Instead of waiting on Blog for fucking an hour, hour and a half. yeah, conversation's great, but if you're trying to like drum up some funds, you want to push that through a little harder, but you don't want to be the used car salesman and be like, hey, come on, let's I don't want to do a mini for a fucking $20 Rads. I mean, that's just defeats the fucking purpose.
Yeah.
So again, technology, people just
Yep.
becoming disenchanted with some of the shit on YouTube, going away from some of the stuff at the time. Upper Deck losing its licenses for MLB and NFL, and Panini getting in the game. So it's, I wish a lot would have stayed around. Foxy's one we've had on here, and he's one of the biggest degenerates. He'll say it himself. He'll go away for a while. I remember on Facebook, I mean, there's times that like I'd get home from work and it'd be like 1:30 in the afternoon, 2:30 for him, because I think he's out in Ohio area, somewhere out that way. And he's like, oh, I just hit a target. I got like 10 blasters, 5 megas, or 5 hangers of the 1819 Prism. I'm going to open them now, looking for Luca. And that's what he'd do. We'd just be like razzing him in there. And he'd be like, fuck me, fuck my life. Why did I spend this money? Fuck. And then he'd go back to the casino. So, I mean, the people still collect, but that's the bad part about the old social media. When you have fucking 9,000 different platforms to go for cards, folks of our age bracket aren't going to be going to all 9,000. I want to get every Josh Johnson, but I'm not going to fucking go here, go there, go TikTok, go MySpace, go fucking wherever because I want the cards. I don't have time for all that shit. That's fucking exhausting.
That's the thing is like, people complain for so long about like, eBay, they need more competition and all this stuff. And then before you know it, there's like 25 different marketplaces. And like you said, Dave, who the hell can keep up with all of these? Like, I mean, I can't remember that many passwords for one thing.
No.
Just to have an account on all those sites.
No.
Just keeping track of like what's selling here, what's selling. I mean, like there's so many cards that I see like in sold listings later on that I would have totally bid on, but I had no idea that it was selling at such and such, place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I totally would have bought that. I had no idea that it was even at auction.
I know it gets to the point where it's like you want to get it, but at the same time, I'm not going to be chasing a tail. And no,
I was kidding. What are you looking at, Vinny? all of a sudden, you did one of these things.
I will say, and I've been very critical of some of the older guys because they were one of those. They focus on the one thing that pissed them off, and they enjoy this so much, and they quit doing it. And I've told them this in person. Actually, at the last national, I told you. I was like, you enjoy the hell out of this, and you let one or two things that pissed you off keep from doing it. It's like all you did was hurt yourself in this process.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be the first one to admit a lot of shit pisses me off, but I've taken my breaks. Dave knows this. Other people who have watched my channel know this. I've taken extended breaks. It's not because of YouTube per se. It's getting into a funk. And when I get into a funk, it's like I would still pick up things from time to time. But, last time I was in a funk, it's like my life was in a whirlwind, personal-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Work sucked. My wife's work sucked. My grandfather passed. My mom died. It was just a combination of so much shit going on that it was like, not that YouTube was never an outlet, because I've conveyed a lot of that. I've pretty much been an open book for the most part. But at the same time, I was very selective of when I would bring something up or I'd say something, because I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for empathy. It's one of those in which the tough thing about it is when you've been doing this for a long time, you almost feel obligated to let people know what the hell's been going on. And take this for what it's worth. Sometimes it's nobody's fucking business.
Yep.
you build your relationships, you have your friends, you tell those people you are closest to because you want them to know. You want them to be aware of what's going on because you don't want to get random texts. Hey man, hadn't seen you in a while. You good? Though getting those messages sometimes it's like, oh shit, man. Yeah, I suck. I hadn't reached back out to you. This is what's been going on. I'm sorry. And with your friends, there's no hard feelings, there's no ill will, but at the same time, it's like you almost feel obligated. And like I said, take it for what it's worth. Sometimes it's nobody's fucking business. And hence the reason why, even as of late, my YouTube videos have been sporadic is because 99% of what I pick up, I show here anyways.
Yeah.
So it gets more views here from the show than what it does on my own channel. So why do I go make a video on my own channel? Because when I do that, everybody's like, oh yeah, hey, great car. Yeah, but you saw it like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So it's nothing new. I know I should, because it's also memories for me, because a 10-minute video is easier to go back and rewatch than 3 hours of IRP footage and try and figure out where the hell I had it in the video and in the podcast.
Well, and with that too, even though it's like it's like the dual content or whatever, we still haven't. It's like all our subscribers, and again, not that this is ever the case, but it's some of your guys that follow you there don't follow the show. So that's sort of my thing, where it's like, okay, maybe somebody watches it here, Joe, Paul, Orlando, Ray, whoever, Ty, but maybe they don't follow there, or maybe, again, like Scott watches a video there for you, but he won't jump on the IRP because, again, doesn't have time or whatever the case may be, which, again, it's never the case of we're trying to guilt people into this shit, but that would be my thing there. Like, even if you make a 10-minute video over there, hey, here's what I picked up, not a ton, but wanted to file them away. And for anybody that's not already over there watching us on the podcast, here it is. A little condensed version. Have at her. And
I think most of my favorite channels on YouTube are channels that they will generally make like maybe 2 or 3 videos a month, but it just seems like the way things are today, it's like if you don't make a video every day, people just dismiss you and they just forget about you. That's just kind of the way it works, I guess. Like, people just have no patience at all. Like, yeah, they feel like they have to make videos like every day or they're just going to be forgotten, and then, there's so many people that, they're trying to build their brand and all this stuff.
mm-hmm.
I just don't like a lot of what it's become. And a lot of the people, it's kind of like the same story as what you guys had. A lot of like my favorite channels, they kind of just like quit making videos, or they just don't hardly ever make them anymore. And it's kind of sad, because I mean, that's some of the best stuff.
Well, and for us older guys, if it wasn't for some of the more popular older guys, half the freaking community wouldn't even know who the fuck we are.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
true. That's true.
Like, I mean, Dave, what year? 25th? Whoa, 2009, 2010, what, 2008, what fucking year? Long fucking time ago.
Or what?
For us.
May 10 for me, June 10 for you. But
So,
watching stuff at the National in Cleveland the previous summer with Lonnie, Elon, and the former Beckett guys, it's like, I didn't know this was a thing. Like, you guys show fucking cards on YouTube?
nor did I.
YouTube? What the fuck is YouTube? I'm like, I don't know. I'm in northeastern Minnesota. news travels fucking slow up here.
By horse and buggy.
If you're lucky,
Like
Harry
the
is
Amish.
good.
Like the Amish.
And to answer
But
a
no,
first question here, I hate YouTube Shorts. Just show it on Instagram.
Oh, Brad,
I
that is like my biggest pet peeve right now. I freaking hate those things. I will not watch them. I don't
No.
care. I will not.
It's not just me. I don't watch them either. I'm like, if you know, because the whole point of like an Instagram is you can just take the picture, upload it, be done. That's basically all you're doing. You're just doing it in video form, but you're
Yeah.
usually hardly even saying anything. You know.
Yeah, Bobby hates them too. Yeah,
Orlando, okay.
But you do every different kind of video. All the
Yeah,
time.
Orlando, he may be showing like some birds, and
Mhm.
it's not just about cars. I'm looking forward to meeting Orlando because Orlando is one of the vintage guys. Like, if you watch his channel, like he's gonna teach you something.
Yep.
You're gonna walk away knowing something that you probably didn't know. I like.
Oh, without a doubt. And Dave likes the longer videos. I do too on occasion, but because Orlando mentioned it, making a video every day that's 20 plus minutes, it's kind of hard to watch some of the other stuff. Not that I don't want to watch it, because like I said, he brings something to the table. He's going to teach you something.
Yeah.
In a lot of his stuff. But I can't do it every day. I can't. I'm still like 60 videos deep in my watch later list because I haven't found the opportunity to watch freaking videos.
I mean,
And most of those are 5 and 6 minutes.
if I like, there are literally not enough hours in the day to watch just what pops up on my subscription feed every day. Like, there's probably like 30 hours worth of videos. I mean, it's just impossible. And then
Back in the day,
Carlos does a live stream, I mean, that's like another 20.
back in the day, I did everything possible I could to watch everybody's video.
Yeah.
But then work was a little bit slower. I worked from home, but work was a little bit slower. I didn't have a team. I wasn't, leading a department, that type of stuff. So I had a little bit more time. I could watch some stuff during the day from time to time. So I could get on top of stuff.
Mm.
That's what she said. But now it's like I'm on calls sometimes 3 and 4 hours a day with management and this and that. And like you said, I don't, there's not enough time in the day.
No.
There isn't. And I hate it because there's a lot of things I want to watch. And then all of a sudden my watch later list gets to, 70, 80 videos. And I'm like, okay, who am I going to kick off my watch later list? Because I'm not going to be able to watch all these.
Yeah.
So I'll click on the video. You'll get a thumbs up because that's just what I do. But I won't watch it because I don't have enough time. I don't. And I'm at least being honest with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks because I would love to be able to sit down and watch more videos. There ain't enough time in a day. I've got kids. I've got a wife.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I think we all have about 10 guys. If they make a vid, you're watching it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Other than that, sometimes you just gotta, like, hey, I know I watched their videos, but I haven't watched this guy's videos a couple times or something. I make sure I don't ever go like, I haven't seen the last 6 videos of this guy. I never do that, but it's like I always try to just keep up with him. But yeah, I can't watch everything either. And I don't have a wife or kids, and I can't watch them.
I mean, it's just
So that
it's not humanly possible. I mean,
Yeah. And my subscription feed's probably not as big as a lot of others because I don't subscribe to the.
Well, Bobby made a good point in the comments. He's right. Mine is way too big. Like there are literally channels on there. I probably haven't watched the video of theirs in 5 years.
Yeah, but that also takes time to clean up your subscriptions.
I know.
It does.
I mean, you could spend a couple hours clearing that up. I do that on Instagram. I start looking at some of my followers, and it's like random chicks or logo design people, all this other. It's like I start going through, remove, 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 remove.
Well, and that's
Like-
another aspect too. Is like I have a lot of other interests outside of cards, so like there's other videos on YouTube that I like to watch, and those can be time consuming as well. I'm sure you guys do as well, right? I'm sure there's other stuff that you guys like to watch besides just cards, right?
I have a few small select handful that I'll watch. I'm not like Dave and his, Russian car crashes and tornado videos.
Oh, hey, I like a good tornado.
Other sports videos. Dave watches a lot of stuff on YouTube. A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But
I do too.
I'm an MTG guy also to a degree, not like what I once was, but there's a couple guys that I watch that are Magic the Gathering related. So I'll watch almost everything that they put out because I'm interested. But outside of that, maybe music from time to time, music videos of, actually wanting to hear songs, but actually also see the video to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, MTV is not a thing anymore. At least not what it used to be. And who was it that freaking sent me on Instagram, or it was posted on Instagram, that freaking Kurt Loder's like 70 something years old? I'm like, thanks for making me feel ancient.
Yeah, that was.
And then I know Brad's one of the guys that kind of champions this, and I know, of course, Ed Westergriff, but I'm one of those guys too. I like to watch the games, so it's like,
Yeah.
It's amazing to me, like how many people that spend way more money on cards than I would ever think about spending, and they don't watch any games. They don't know any of the players really. That's wild to me.
Yeah, you're like, this guy had a really off season. I was like, yeah, because you didn't realize his whole offensive line got hurt in front of him. Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
they
probably
just
why
look
you
at
did
the box,
it, buddy.
they look at the box scores, and that's how they judge players.
Yeah, that's even if you watch, like, let's say the MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA, every league comes out with a highlight video per game. And then there's another channel, I think it's called Matthew Loves Ball. And he puts like some lengthy highlight videos out. Especially when the softball's going on, I'm watching that because it's a lot of like key plays. Mostly, it's like every out, every single, every base hit, whatever, every strikeout. It's like 25, 30 minutes long. So if it's a game I missed and I can't pick up the game and I really don't want to sit down for the game, I'll watch that. So let's say you're just watching those. I mean, the average MLB one's got to be right around 8.5, 9 minutes. Let's say it's a full day of games. That's what, 15 videos?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like an hour and a half, 2 hours of time just to watch highlights. Because you're not going to see them on SportsCenter. You're not going to see them on MLB Network. Everything's so story-driven now.
Yeah.
Unless it's a key player.
Here's the thing, too, Dave, is like, this is what I think gets a lot of people in trouble when they're buying a lot of these younger players, is that they only watch the highlights. So guess what?
Yeah.
Some of these guys, they don't miss shots in the highlights.
No.
So these guys look a lot better than what they really are. So, they'll watch a highlight package of this guy and be like, this guy's incredible. I'm like, yeah, I mean, he made like 6 shots in the highlight package, but he missed 20 that you didn't see. I mean, I think that really happens a lot to people because
Oh, yeah.
I hear people talk about some of these players and I'm like, they're comparing them to, all-time greats. I'm like, I think you need to watch this guy play a full game.
And yeah, that unless you're seeing like a pitcher mow down 16 batters, 14 batters, and you're seeing Ellie De La Cruz getting struck out 3 times, or whoever it is, like somebody going down 3 times, like, well,
Yeah.
But then you're sitting there, well, I gotta sell. He struck out 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, motherfucker, I mean, the big donkey, how many times did he do that in his career and hit 48 home runs? I mean, yeah, I batted 220, but
Yeah.
Adam Dunn was a decently collected player back.
No, I'm with you. Like I like to watch highlight packages too, but I think for people that if that's the only thing they're watching, they're not getting the whole picture.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
There's a lot that happens that's not in those highlight reels. Kind of like what Brad was talking about with the offensive lines and stuff. Like there's another story within the game.
Cool.
It's all about listening to their hobby heroes telling them what to do and who to collect
I mean,
and why they should collect.
we know most of those guys don't know anything. Like they don't even know what teams these guys play for in a lot of cases.
No.
Whatever do you mean? Come on, Andy. I don't believe you for a second.
You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of guys here in the chat that I'm looking forward to seeing at the show, and I think I've met most of the people in this chat except for Orlando. I'll meet Orlando, I think, for the first time. Maybe I may have met Orlando last year, actually.
You haven't met me.
I haven't met you. Yeah. Well, you haven't been. Have you been at the National in a while?
No, I've never been. This is my first one. So.
Okay. I was about to say, you and Dave have been like in forever.
So Dave's been 10 plus years, I think, since he's gone. Vinny's never gone. So this will actually be mine and Vinny's first national.
The first one I went to, I was 11 years old. It was in 1990.
Yes, that's you and Mike, baseball collector. We're having that chat during Hobby Palooza.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, there's so many of the guys that I know now that I probably saw at previous nationals. We just didn't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, there's no telling how many people, because, like, there's a lot of people. Like, this is, sitting. It's not like we just started collecting in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Mike, Canadian cards, yeah, you know me.
Yeah, I can't list I couldn't even rattle off a list of people that I'm looking forward to meeting, even if it's just in passing.
Mhm.
I mean that would kind of suck, but we've been told by Ed we have to make an appearance at the Lowe's Hotel for the
Dude,
YouTube
hey.
hangout.
It's something to see. I'll say that. Like, I'm not one of those people. I don't like going to the trade nights and like staying very long, but just to like get I mean, it's hard to really explain what is going on at these things. Like it's.
Well, I have no interest in the trade night component, Andy. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't, because I'd be, well, I can't drink too much because I'm the one driving, so I'll have to keep that in check, which I always do because normally I'm always the designated driver, anyways, no matter.
Well, where are you
I
guys
go.
staying at?
We're staying off the beaten path, so
Okay.
we're an hour away from the convention center.
Okay, because all these hotels like
Yep, they're right there.
trade nights, they're all within walking distance, like where all these different trade nights and stuff will be. It's did you go to some of those, Brad?
Oh yeah.
It's wild. Man.
I will say at the Lowe's one, because we would just think that you're going to be annoyed, right? That's your initial thought, and it's loud and it can be annoying. However, I have a good story. Like I was wearing the Zach Thomas jersey, right? And the guy stops me and he goes, He's like, I haven't seen a Zach Thomas jersey in a long time. He goes, look what I picked up. And this was like this awesome Zach Thomas patch card. And ever since then, like we talked on Instagram since then, and stuff. So it was like you did meet someone that, throughout all that shenanigans going on, that was kind of cool, And to this day, we still, he hit me up and he's like, one of the captain's patches for Cameron Wake came up. And I have 2 of the 4, and he knew that because he went through my Instagram and he was like, "This just popped up." Problem is, it was gone by the time I got to it at $300 and something, which is nuts. But just stuff like that, like you might be surprised. You'll meet some people you never even thought you would meet that have nothing to do with YouTube. But
I mean, now don't get me wrong, guys. Like once you see it, once you get in there and see it, you're gonna be like, what am I like? Am I like a Chicago business school or something? Like, because I mean, it's you're gonna see like all these young kids and everything, and they're gonna be over there just piles of cash and just.
Yeah, I guess Lowe's is where the big one is every night. I guess they do it every night, the way I understand it. That's where the big one is.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for the meetup to see people outside of the show, maybe have more of an in-depth conversation.
Yeah, I will say it is actually easier to do that at the Thursday one than the Friday. It's a different climate. The Embassy Suite one, like the way it's set up, you won't have as many people you don't know there, I would say. It's easier to have a conversation. There's actually tables there. Because the Lowe's, there's like a little restaurant, and then you go out into this huge lobby. The problem is it's going to be filled with all the people. Right. So I honestly, the Thursday one is probably easier to talk to more people in a quieter setting.
Controlled environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I found myself that's easier.
The vibe is different. Is that what you're saying? The
it's
feel.
all about the vibes.
Yeah.
It's a different setup.
Brad already said that, Dave. Brad already said that. You're late to the party on that one. He already did that for you. Day late, dollar short.
I caught that, Brad. I caught that. Brad's all like, I'm all about the vibes. Right.
Quit dreaming of Alaska, Dave.
Not to.
No, you guys will have fun. I mean, like it. Honestly, for me at this point, it's the only reason I go is to hang out with people. Like I don't care if I buy anything. I really
That's
don't.
me. So I've already told everybody. Like I'm shopping for a select few individuals. 3 of them happen to be on this panel. If I find nothing for myself, but am able to come home with something for at least one of the 3, to me, that's a win. Yes, I can get shit on eBay and stuff like that, but to me, it's the added story behind it. First time going to National, hanging with my extended family. I mean, these guys are family to me. Found it at the show to then turn around and give it to them for Christmas. This is for Christmas. This isn't like buy card, here you go. This is buy card, keep it secret, send around Christmas, and it gets opened on our annual Christmas episode. To have the added story aspect to it, that makes it that much more sentimental. There's more to it than just, hey, I got you something, So that's, and I mean, I have a few things for a few people, but take it for what it's worth. I don't want to say I'm selective with who I get really close with, because the whole objective of this show is to build connections. Having you on the show and actually having an opportunity to interact with you, Andy, this has been fantastic. other people that Dave has brought on that I've never interacted with before has been fantastic. But before I start like sending a bunch of shit to people, it's gotta build up over time.
Yeah.
Sure. But it's, as I said kind of earlier, and was it during pre-show or was it during the show? I can't even freaking remember. We've already been on an hour and I can't forget what the hell we've already talked about. Other than the fact that we haven't talked about the subject yet.
Which is,
there was no chance
right?
doing an hour and a half.
The collecting part of it is great, but giving something to somebody, it's like that's really the highlight for a lot of us. And if I could give more stuff to more people, I would. But then at that point in time, it's kind of like I'd be forced to look around and be like, okay, where the fuck did all my cards go?
Yeah.
Not that I don't have not that I have a shortage of them. Half the crap I don't even know what the hell I've got. But being that I'm mostly a football guy, it's harder to be able to give stuff to people if they're fully baseball. I've got baseball, just not to the extent of what I've got football. Football is like 6 times all the other sports. Like Brad is easy. Dave is easy because, Brad's the Dolphins. Dave's Chargers. He's got other players, but, from a team perspective, Chargers is easier to kind of focus on. Vinny's a Steelers guy. Bob's a Steelers guy. Purple GT22 is a Falcons guy. Michael, this film not yet rated, is a Packers guy. Hitman 23, recently on the show in the last few months, he's a Redskins guy. So when I start asking people, it's like, okay, I need football information. Because I used to get shit all the time because I was always the Terrell Davis guy. Ask anybody. I was the Terrell Davis guy, and people used to bitch, moan, groan, and complain because they'd want to get me something, and I'd go out and buy it because I was buying anything and everything that was popping up that I didn't have.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why the Broncos collection came around. And then I even had to take it to the next level. University of Texas alumni drafted into the NFL, preferably in their University of Texas uniforms. It's like, if that doesn't give you enough, then I don't know what else you want from me.
I mean, I could have done without the University of Texas stuff, but
I'm from Texas. I understand. Born and raised, Andy.
I understand. Nobody's perfect.
I could say the same for you too. I could say the same for you.
You got to admit, we have a
hell of a rivalry.
We have a pretty unique rivalry, honestly. Like
100%.
Especially
100%.
college football. It's something else.
Well, and for those who take it for what it is, God, this was years ago. I think I was 14 or 15 years old. And it was the year that, for whatever reason, the family decided to go to the state fair. And it happened to be during the Red River Shootout.
Yeah.
The day of the game, and it was a complete and utter shit show. I was thoroughly embarrassed as a Texas fan, as any OU fan should have been embarrassed as well. I mean, it was bad. Like, I get rivalries. It's the same in the NFL, but it's like, holy shit, man, this is a game. This isn't like war. It's not. I've gone to a Dallas, Washington game when I was younger, and it was like, holy shit. Like, this is nuts. This is crazy. Like, people throwing down in the bleachers, throwing beers. I mean, it's a football game, folks. Really? I go to my first and only Denver home game that I've ever been to. They played Miami. Denver lost. Great game. No, not of course. Not of course. It was a great game. It was a great game. But during pregame and tailgating, there was Broncos and Dolphins fans hanging out, shooting the breeze, shooting the shit, hanging out, drinking beer, eating, throwing the football, all sorts of stuff. And during the game, there was banter back and forth. I mean, come on, that's what football is about, right? It's all about the banter. But after the game was over, there wasn't any of this fisticuff crap. It was, great game, blah, blah, blah. Now, maybe that was just in my area of the stadium that I was in. But there wasn't anything crazy. I just, it's sports, man. I get our love for a team, but last I checked, we're grown adults. Let's act like it.
I like to talk trash like during the games when it's going on, but afterwards,
Who doesn't?
Afterwards is where it gets out of hand because people are like, "Yeah, we did this." I'm like, "We? You didn't play. You're not on the team, so I don't know what this we stuff is."
My favorite time was that I went to Soldier Field for the Bears Dolphins game, and this was the year the Bears went to the Super Bowl in 06. So their team was really good, and we beat them with Joey Harrington, and I let them know about it. I said, "Don't worry, a lot of people lose to no, wait, basically just you guys have lost to Joey Harrington."
Anybody that wins with Joey Harrington, there should be like, there's a little extra time to roast people if you pull that off.
Maybe I should change the team I root for.
Yeah, it was
Maybe.
awesome. The team was really good that year. They lose to Joey Harrington. It shows you. Any given Sunday, but yeah, I had a heck of a time.
As I could see you doing that, Brad. I could see you doing that. But see, you've got that personality though, to where it's like it'd be awful hard to get pissed off at you for.
Yeah, and it's done in like a chilled manner. It's not done in an in-your-face manner. Yeah. It's done as the sarcastic asshole manner, where you're like,
you? No, Brad, I couldn't buy that for 1 second.
So I mean, I got the finger on the way out, but that was just funny. I want to punch you in the face thing.
This is another cool thing about the National is you get to see people pay $5,000, $10,000 for the next Joey Harrington. A lot.
Yep. Well, that's true too. That's true.
Those are going to be the most popular guys that people are buying at the show. Is guys that are going to end up being the next Joey Harrington.
Always a possibility. Always a possibility.
Yeah.
So let's actually talk food. We've talked national. I mean, we've still talked national. The show is national-esque. It's all about the national. Dave just likes to put the emphasis on the food component since he's called this the fattening tour. At least for him, I think Vinny has seconded that use of terminology for the national, the fattening tour. And I have to admit, I'm looking forward to a lot of the food myself, just because hearing over all the years, all the people talking about a lot of the various places.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it up to either one of you who wants to start. What places are you looking forward to going back to or going to for the first time because you didn't get to go last time you were there? Any recommendations? These are kind of like the talking points I'm throwing out there to kind of give you an idea of where to go with it. Any recommendations? Any like off the beaten path type hole in the wall joints that you may have heard about, have been to, wanted to go to? Because at the end of the day, we know we're not going to be able to hit everywhere. There's not enough time. But
there's always a lot less time than what you think there's going to be at these things. But I'll tell you what, like one of the places, I definitely want to get to one of the Italian beef sandwich places because I've always wanted to do that and just never have made the time for it. I've done like several of the different pizza places, the deep dish places. I've done Gibson's, which is awesome, but like, who knows if you'll even be able to get in there this year? I don't know. And then I know, like, I listen to
those steakhouses, you have to go off hours. You cannot go at 7 o'clock. You can't go after the show. You have to go in the middle of like the day. I don't know when it opens, but you got to go at like 3 o'clock.
What's the name of that? I think it may be like a seafood place that's just kind of like right down the road from the convention center. It's kind of off. You know where that hotel is? That's just right there by itself.
Yeah,
it has that
I know
restaurant.
what
in
you're
there.
talking about.
That place, I'm pretty sure is pretty good. I don't remember the name of it.
I have been told by now. I have not experienced this. If you love Italian food, Carmine's, I have been told by everyone who talks Italians, that's where you need to go if you're an Italian fan.
Okay.
And that, I think, is in that area of hotels and arena that I don't know what you call it, little district thing they have there, entertainment district or whatever it is. I guess, that I'm told by multiple people that Italian food, you go to Carmine's.
And then I listened to the last episode, so I know that Vinny wants to go to Red Lobster for sure. He's going to hit that up.
McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any seafood places anyways, because living in Texas, why would I go for seafood in Chicago? Like Chicago and seafood, just that combination just doesn't.
I'll give you a semi disappointment. There's a Shoeless Joe Bar and Grill or whatever.
Yeah.
And the name of it, you're thinking this is going to be pretty cool. This is beyond the Lowe's Hotel. So we went on Friday because we're like, all right, we'll go behind it and then come to Lowe's on the way back, right? And it's about a mile, so it's like the max walking distance, I would say, that you'd be willing to walk. And yeah, kind of disappointing, to be honest. And it wasn't like I thought they might have it like very historic, with Shoeless Joe stuff. Not really. Kind of a basic sports bar. So don't look at the name thinking it's something it's not. It's not special.
What is Mike, Canadian Cards? He's in the chat. He may know this. Like, Mike, what is the place that we went to? And I think we just had like burgers one night. It was like me and Mike and Eric and JT. Hopefully he'll think of it. It wasn't like anything super great, but we were just in there, having some drinks, and it was just like a nice little chill place. It was in one of the hotels though.
Yeah,
Maybe the place you're talking about. I don't know.
I wanted to go to Murray. Yeah,
That's it.
Okay. And it was actually connected to our hotel because we both stayed at the Crown Plaza last time. Yeah, and I never got to eat there either.
Yeah, it was actually, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's just kind of like a cool little chill place. It wasn't like super busy, so you could get drinks and stuff and just hang out.
Yeah, Caddyshack, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Caddyshack's, yeah.
See, I could go for a chill place every once, and Portillo's is on the list. 2 of the freaking main pizza joints are on the list. But it's one of those, like Dave's got it high on his priority list to go to the food truck festival that's like an hour outside of town, which I'm all for to a degree. That's a lot of driving that day, and a lot of food potential.
Yeah.
But it's one of those in which it's like the sky's the limit and nothing's off limits. But at the same time, we're trying to keep things into perspective. Not that we want to stay within a specific area either. One nice thing that we do have is like Stoph is staying with us Friday night.
Oh yeah, he'll know the area. That'd be cool. There you go. Vinny threw something in the chat. Vinny's not as talkative this evening, it appears. Yeah, I definitely need a good Italian beef sandwich. So I'm gonna have to make that happen. To be honest, like I'm usually I'm one of those guys like that Ed was making fun of last week, because I'm one of the guys like I'll eat a big breakfast and then I won't even think about food again until like later that night. Like he was talking about, it's good to like leave the show to go get lunch or something. I never even think about lunch. Like I get so busy in there, like running around, and I need to do better.
See, I don't
I
do
didn't
breakfast.
want to deal with that.
My breakfast consists of coffee and a cigarette. That's my breakfast. So
I'd love to find like a mom and pop diner with a fucking like bacon and eggs, biscuits and gravy. That shit, like even a breakfast burrito. That that would have to be like a lunch day where it's like, okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna. Lunch won't happen. I'll probably be shitting for like 20 minutes 3 different times.
see, that's what I was gonna say. I'm not opposed. See, I love breakfast.
Yes.
But if we're gonna do a big breakfast, it's got to be close to the hotel, because we need to make a diversion back to the hotel briefly before we decide to hit the road for an hour.
That's a pro.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, because you get in there, and I mean, I've tracked this before, like on my phone, but I mean, there's some of these days where you can end up walking close to 10 miles.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's
That's
crazy.
easy though. That's what I do every day.
You walk 10 miles a day?
I'm about 22,000 steps in the summer.
Oh, see, I don't. So
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can find out the people like me and Joey were walking around. Joey walks for his job, and I'm always on concrete 8 hours at Costco. So for us, it was like, and it isn't like I'm some like great shape person, but I really didn't have like any problem with the feet. Like, you're gonna just have natural tiredness at the end of the day. But it's funny to see the difference, and it's not a size thing, or if a person has a desk job, you can tell pretty darn quickly, because after 2 hours, they're like, "Oh, man, I'm really hurting."
I resent that. I resent that, Brad.
Yeah, if you work from home, you're gonna be fucking gassed just going out to the vehicle.
Usually
true,
by
man.
day 3, like I feel like I need knee surgery.
So, for the record, I don't have issues with walking for extended periods of time or being on my feet. Being on my feet has a tendency to hurt more because, Dave, you may or may not remember, at some point in time, I did have injections for a herniated disc. So there may be times in which, yes, I need to sit down, but it's not because I'm tired or my feet hurt. It's because my back is fucking killing me.
Yeah, it's not so much the walking, it's the concrete.
Oh.
It's the concrete slab that you're walking on.
But that's not an issue. Last year for vacation, we were in Disney for a week.
Mhm.
And you walk, you stand, you walk, you stand, you walk, you walk, you walk, you stand, you walk, you stand.
Yep, your weight.
And you're there all freaking day. Yeah, by the end of the day at 9-10 o'clock at night,
then
yeah, you're a bit tired. But that's anybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the normal
anybody.
tired thing. It's just funny. You'll see when you get there. There's certain people it just cracked me up because it's what you're used to. If you're not
There
used to it, it'll kill you.
always a show when people are passing out because they've walked like 6 tables worth of fucking cards. It's like,
Oh, especially the last time, Wednesday and Thursday, humid as all get out. Those 2 days,
oh,
people they were struggling, and then half the AC didn't work. So if you were smart, I went to the side that worked, and then the other days I checked out the other side of the building. See,
Oh, so that it's like Texas then. So I mean, I should be good. I should be good. Andy, you should technically be good because you guys get humidity up there like we do.
Yeah, it's not the heat or anything. It's just the walking on concrete. Like
Well,
And
like
then-
everybody says, it's all about the comfortable shoes. So as long
Yeah,
as you got
nobody-
comfortable shoes on,
Yeah, I mean, like that's so overplayed. Like, I mean, of course, of course you want to wear them, but I mean, like, it's not gonna solve the problem.
well, of course not. It's kind of poking fun at some of the stuff that it's like most people, when you think about putting things into perspective, if you're going to like a theme park, what's one of the main things you're going to do? You're going to wear decently comfortable shoes. It's the same idea and concept. You're going to a place, you're going to be on your feet a lot of the time. Oh, okay, I'm going to wear sandals or I'm going to wear flip-flops. No.
You'll see that.
I mean, come on.
You will see it though.
You'll see it.
I'm sure. I get it.
And a lot of times,
Because honestly, a lot of the people under 25 don't own tennis shoes.
No. And if they do, they're in boxes because they're fucking Dwayne Wade's or
Yeah, they're
bullshit.
collectibles.
they're too expensive to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
true.
it's just. So, Brad, so we know Andy's looking for a good Italian beef sandwich. Brad, anything in particular that you're looking forward to having again, or maybe having something different this time?
Because I'm really a meat and potatoes kind of guy. You know, I like my
That's
steak, my chicken, my burgers. I'm not really big into Italian. I can't remember the place me and Joey got pizza from that isn't the thick crust because neither of us are deep dish people. And I can't remember it, and I couldn't find it. But it was like the thin crust, and it was pretty good. We got it delivered to our hotel. And it was like, that was on Saturday. Because by Saturday, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean,
We were like,
I'm
we're
not
not going out.
I'm not a deep dish guy either, but it's one of those, it's a Chicago staple. So I have to try it at least somewhere. Like to me, it's I have my I'll use the term bucket list. It's not really a bucket list, but I have like certain things on my list that, you know, as I'm able to check things off, it just improves the overall experience of being there. One of them has already had to be scratched off because the Cubs are not playing in town. Can't go to Wrigley and watch a game. So not that we would have had time to go anyways, but it was one of those in which Dave and I had talked about it. If everything fell into place, it would be an awesome experience to go to a Chicago Cubs game at Wrigley with my boys. I don't care where the fuck we're sitting, have a hot dog and a freaking beer and just enjoy the ambiance of being at Wrigley Field, even though you get the urine smell throughout. But still,
it's the best urine you've ever smelled.
it's the experience. It's just it takes me back to my childhood and my grandmother and watching the Cubs play. It just, you know, so that's already had to be scratched off the list. But, you know, deep dish pizza, Portillo's. I almost said Portobello's like Ed did, like Ed used to. You know, the show in general, meeting people, you know, like I have a list, and I hate deep dish pizza. I hate it. But the fact that it's a Chicago staple, I feel like it would almost be an insult to myself to not go and at least have a slice because it's part of Chicago.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the Wrigley Field thing though, like the urine, it's not like that asparagus smelling urine. It's, you know, it's got a nice you need to smell it at least once.
well, that'll have to be at a future national, maybe, perhaps. We've all been talking about at some point going to the expo. And of course, Vinny's all set on going next year. And it's like,
Oh, there he is. He's back now.
This one took almost an act of Congress to pull off and convince my wife to let me do this one. So
We will convince her to go to Canada.
the expo is definitely something that I would love to go to, even though I'm not a hockey guy, but it's all about the experience. So I would be flying to Michigan again. We'd be driving over the border and driving to the show. And it's that also adds to the experience, right? The road trip component. But the expo will probably not happen next year. Just FYI. Maybe the following 2025.
Then we're leaving you at home, Dave.
Then leave me at home, fucker.
We're getting you there somehow, some way. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. But no, it's definitely something I want to do because there's a lot of guys that I've come to know over the years from Canada. I mean, Mike's going to be at the National, so I mean, technically I could scratch him off the list. But it would be cool to actually. It would also be cool to actually see him at the expo. But there's Canadian guys that I'd love to be able to meet. Paul being one of them, Bobby being one of them,
Floating Head being one of them.
He is not on my list of people I want to meet. Mike, I know it's twice a year, but like I said, this was not an easy convince.
This is funny that this kind of came up in a way, but so everybody has certain people that you're not really a fan of, right? That are in the hobby.
Whatever do you mean, Andy?
Here, and I'll see if Brad agrees. Are there people? I don't even know if there's people that you don't really care for, Brad. Are there?
It's like when you pull Mojo, and when you pull Mojo out of a pack. I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
I mean, you don't have to say any names, but I'm sure there's some people that
Yeah, I'm not saying names. I just like pulling Mojo.
It's like you get sometimes, and this is not always the case, but sometimes you see these people at a national, and I don't know if it's just because you're just in such a good mood, but they just don't seem as bad there as they do normally.
No, it's 100% true.
I get
will not find those guys that annoying at the show. Now, if you meet up with them maybe elsewhere, that might be different. But yeah, I don't think you'd be that annoyed with him at the show.
I will be cordial. I will shake a hand. Nice to meet you. But under my breath and in the back of my mind, it's like you're a scumbag piece of shit.
I made a decision after watching I think it was probably the first 10 or 15 minutes of the episode you guys did last week. I'm going to make it a point. I want to walk a lap around that building with Dave one day. I just got to do it just to see what happens.
See, hey, this is what's going to happen. By the time it's all said and done, Dave, we're going to have this big old group surrounding us. And people are just it's going to be like part in the Red Sea. People are just going to get the fuck out of our way.
Jets and the Sharks, baby.
It's not even one of those things where I want to record it or anything. I just want to see it in person. I just want to see it. I want to see some of the interactions with people.
We've already got this figured out, though, Andy. You heard us. We've got the GoPro. Check. Dave's going to wear it, and it's going to be on the whole fucking time. We're going to spend a shitload of time editing video, but damn it, I will make the time.
But Dave's biggest problem is just going to be all the people around him all the time. It's not going to be someone specifically actually just pissing him off. It's going to be constant somebody around him all the time. It's going to drive him up the wall.
All he's got to do is rip ass once, and that'll change. Come on, we've had this conversation. We're going to load him up on his homemade chili and deviled eggs before the show every freaking day.
Yep. Give me some of that Indian food, that curry, that spicy curry. Ooh.
We need
You think the fog off Lake Michigan's thick? Woo!
there needs to be like some kind of like signal that you can give to like the rest of us.
It'll be a healthy cough. It'll be like,
Start going.
that's your tugboat warning. Get the fuck out.
Like
Or-
disperse.
Hey.
Gabagool.
Get the gabagool.
That's
The
just
safe word.
that
That's
lets
the safe
people know
word.
the poison gas is about to be released.
That's the safe word. If you hear that anywhere on the show floor, duck and cover. Duck and cover. Or vacate the premises.
I'd
Yeah,
vacate.
you'll hear somebody bellowing gabagoo. Just be like, fuck, I gotta run. I don't know where I'm running, but just fucking away from that. I heard it over there. I'm running that way. What's going on? No time. You're gonna be caught in the undertow. Fuck, you're done. Gone.
Only those that pay attention to the show will know what that means. So
You'll see
take
like
warning.
couple heads just like bolting. Like, hey, you want the IRP?
I want to see like there'll be like Dave walking this way down an aisle, and you see Ken Golden with his like entourage of like security guards coming the other way. I just want to see that when they just come together.
I'm gonna channel my inner Don West. That will be a moment that I might get rung up by somebody. I say, Kenny, who's gonna get him? Where's Donnie West? You never reconciled. What the fuck? Folks! Who's gonna get him? Kenny, are you on the phone? Kenny, are you there?
Yeah, you will see him there, and he'll be walking around with some security.
Oh,
guards.
he's there. He's already posted it on Instagram. Look, history and him as a person, to like, he's synonymous with cards. Let's face it. For anybody who's been around long enough, he's synonymous with cards.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
He's
agree with
honest
him.
a lot of
I
other
think
stuff too, though.
I think he's done a lot of shady shit. I'm not a fan of his, but he's a marketing genius. I will give him that much. And at the end of the day, I still would shake his hand just to say, you know what? I at least met him. But that would be the extent of it.
And I'll tell
So
you
he's
now, I would get pictures and be prepared to get pictures with me. Because that's how I remember shit. It'll be very easy to be like, okay, I remember this time. If there's like a group of us and I'll say, getting a picture, getting a fucking picture. Just because that was something back when that 2011 National, that's such a big part of Ryan's shop. That picture because that was their first time setting up at National. And there's a ton of YouTubers there. There's probably 25, 35 YouTubers. And of which probably half aren't even there. So, or within the collecting realm as they were then. So
there'll be a shit ton of pictures too, I'm sure.
But I'm warning people. So if I say, let's get a picture, I don't want to hear that, well, no, just get it done with and then fucking continue the conversation. It's going to take a second. So I preach that to the people, like, when they lose a loved one, make sure you fucking take the pictures, or you have a kid. I'm saying take fucking pictures until it makes no sense why you're taking that picture. Say, it doesn't matter. Keep taking pictures. You got somebody that's ill. Take pictures with them before, because you just don't know when. Oh, we're at a party. We can't take the pictures. We're all boozing. Who cares? You can at least look back on it and be like, had this time with this person, instead of what now?
Yeah.
I remember it, but I don't have. It's not like it validates it even more. But it's like, okay, I met this person. This is a fucking great time. I met these guys, met these collectors, met whoever. It's like pictures will be very integral, and that will be the one thing I say. If you want a picture with me, it costs you $20, but I will very gladly take a picture with you for $20.
Cheap.
Yeah,
Man, that's
that,
cheap. That's cheap.
yeah, that's cheaper than anything at TriStar at the fucking autograph pavilion. So hey,
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
So Andy, I have to ask, and Brad, even from your perspective, you guys have gone more recent. I know a lot of people have brought stuff to stop to sign, like in remembrance. As they come across people, they sign, whether it be Pepino's dirty
Underwear.
or a bat, a ball, whatever. You guys, I'm guessing, have never done that, but how many people have asked you to sign stuff? And outside of what I would consider more bigger things, are they having you sign decoys? Are they having you sign 3x5 cards? Like anything along those lines when it comes to people wanting that for like their YouTube PC?
I think I've only, in all the years that I've went, I've probably only signed like two things. One of them was Pepino's underwear, and then I'm trying to think of what the other one was. A lot of times, like what people will do, I actually have some of them here. Like people will bring like their own cards that they've made, and they'll sign them and give them to you. Like there's one of Jake.
Yeah, we don't have any of those.
Victor. I don't think he signed it on the back. Victor did. Of course, the very famous Ed and Mike.
Yeah, I got one. Yeah.
Let's see here. JT dressed up as Miggy.
I think I've got one of those somewhere.
There's John, Wade Boggs fan, John. The red ink auto numbered to 60.
Got to stay true to form with that Topps heritage.
Blue Rock. This is a cool dude I met last year. I don't know if you met him or not, Brad. Al? Do you remember
No,
him?
I just recently found his channel a few months ago.
Of course, unfortunately for you guys, he's another vintage baseball guy.
Yes.
There's Eric. I know like Eric, I've got another one of his. There's Dustin and Blake. They were there.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's more along the lines of stuff. Oh gosh, I almost forgot. You guys. Now this is not for sale. Okay.
Damn.
I think it would probably get a 10 auto. The corners, probably get like an 8.5, but 10 auto.
I'll make you a deal, Andy. You pay me $10 and I'll take it off your hand.
Well, I would be even then because Mike paid me $10 to take it.
Oh, okay. Hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah.
But no, what I've ever seen, I saw someone signing a bat. I didn't know him that well. But it's usually big bulk items.
Yeah.
Usually it's nothing like, what to say, like you said, like an 8x10 or 3 whatever. Maybe have 5 guys specific sign it or something. I've never seen anything like that.
That would be cool though. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Like, maybe all the football guys to sign it or something, or all fans and teams, whatever. That would be a cool thing to do. But
yeah.
Again, it's just more stuff you got to take with you, though, especially if you're not driving. You want to take the least amount of stuff with you as possible.
I was just asking the question because, one, I don't have a custom card. And there's not enough time to get any of that. Or even like a business card for that matter. Even if we wanted to do that, it's like there's not enough time. We talked about it before, but a part of me is like, okay, get a package of 3x5 cards. And as you come across people, have them sign a 3x5 card.
Yeah.
At least you have their autograph and you say, hey, at least inscribe your YouTube name.
Now, this is something that probably you guys didn't see before at previous nationals, but it's kind of a thing now. Is there's legitimately going to be people, mostly kids, walking around, and they're going to ask for people like YouTubers autographs. Like that's a thing now. Like you'll see Ryan, like Card Collector 2, and like there'll be people coming up and getting his autograph. And like Jeff Wilson, people will be getting his autograph. So that's like a thing now.
Well, we're not popular enough
No.
to.
Oh no!
Hey,
I'm not saying like
will you have the IRP crew sign this? And by the way, you need to give us $20 I mean, that's
Yeah.
really going to be the extent of that.
No,
But I will say, it'll be interesting to see outside of who's all staying. Like, I mean, we're all staying together. At least the three of us and Bob, and we're staying together. But it'd be interesting to see at the show or outside of the show who ends up getting the first IRP triple autograph, because there's none in existence right now.
it'd be a true one of one.
They do not exist.
Now, you guys, here's my advice. If you go that route, don't do like Panini where you have like 100 different one of ones. If you're gonna do a one of one triple, just make it one.
Mhm.
Make it special.
Hmm.
Don't
Make it
water
special.
down the product.
Hmm. The wheels are turning here.
But the
It
funnest
does-
part,
no
It's
no
like-
sticker autos, Paul. No sticker autos.
Make it a redemption.
Well, that's what it would have to be. Since it doesn't exist, it'd have to be a redemption.
That's what you should do. You should hand out redemptions.
almost the funnest part of the show are the random people that come up to you that you never know watch your stuff. That was almost like the funnest part for me. I had like 3 or 4 people, I didn't even know who they were, but you could tell they watched the stuff by the kind of stuff they said, you know. And I was like, oh, I didn't even have any idea. I didn't even know who they were. Most of them won't even make YouTube videos, but I'm telling you, you'll be surprised. I guarantee you get a couple that you don't even know watch this that will say something to you. And it's
Yeah,
cool.
you'll get some people for sure, because I mean, you just have to think about it this way. Like I think we kind of like think this is normal. Like, but this is like, you have to be pretty hardcore to go to this show. Like, I mean, because it costs a lot of money, and you know, it's a lot of travel and all that. People use this as like, I mean, this is basically like, I use this every year as like my vacation.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I mean, most of the people that are at this show, I mean, they're pretty hardcore into this stuff. So yeah, you'll get recognized a couple of times, I bet, for sure.
Yeah, that's I've said this before too. I'm like that, especially if it's somebody you don't know, and they're like, okay, my name on YouTube is such and such, and you're still like, you're looking like, who? That's going to be the part where I'm like, it's odd, because again, we've said it numerous times. We never started out, or our channels weren't made to fucking make money and gain viewership and accolades and praise and sponsorship. That's not what we do it for. So I mean, if anybody starts saying fucking, I hear Amish Dave from like 2 hours over, and I don't know who the fuck you are. I'm like, okay, come on down. I mean, I want to meet you, but we've also said too, if we're looking on the show floor, I know Eric's the same way. We're looking at cards for a reason. You say, hey, we want to chat with you. Let's go to this. Let's go to the thing Thursday, the thing Friday after, whatever it is. Let's talk there. Bring your stuff. We'll talk there and chat about whatever you want. But because we don't get to sit there and go through like big card shows. We're not near Dallas. We're not, well, Steve is, but we're not going to these shows like a lot of other folks are. So when we go to the big shows, I don't necessarily want to spend a ton of money, or nor will I spend a ton of money. What I want to do is look through a ton of shit.
Yep.
Because there's going to be things that just like, it won't even matter like what's going on. I'll be, oh fuck, 96 gold refractor, $5. I don't even care if it's the checklist. I will buy it. Stuff like that, where it's stuff that pops out right away. Like, and if I've got somebody chattering in my ear about something, I'm getting upset right away. So I'm like, I've said this numerous times for a lot of years. Show floor of a national, show floor if I went to like a Chantilly, Dallas, Atlanta, the new Burbank thing, I am looking at cards, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we'll figure something out. If you want to say, hey, like I just said, well, fine, but show floor. Introduce, hey, what's going on? You having a good time? Great. Plan, disperse.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. And if you think I'm rude or I'm an asshole and you're going to call me out later because I didn't sit there and chat, I've plainly stated this numerous times. And that's the same with other people. Unless you're like, hey, let's, like Andy said, let's take a lap. Fuck yeah, let's take a lap.
That's one of my favorite things to do is like, just, grab one of your friends, like, and especially, people that like, because like I'm staying with like Mike and JT and those guys, so we'll see each other a lot like outside of the show as well. So it's always fun to grab somebody that you're not staying with, just somebody that you only get to see at this show, and just do a lap, because it's just cool to like, because they're gonna point out stuff that you never would have like probably paid much attention to, and you kind of do the same, and it's just cool. Like you're gonna notice some stuff that you probably wouldn't have seen, but that's a lot of fun. I love doing that.
Yeah, but that's the thing I'm nervous about, people. Just because there's going to be so much more of a gathering of them than 2011, the last time I was at the show. So, I mean, you could just sit there and pretty much fucking do kick flips with your fucking skateboard down the aisles because there's so much room, and now you won't even be able to, like, fucking fit like Kate Moss down the aisle because it's that crowded. So
yeah, I mean, if I could choose the people that were going to be there, I would definitely want it to be way smaller. I'll say that.
yeah,
I'm not a fan of like just like the huge crowd and just having to like battle through people to get to see a showcase and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of times, man, there'll be like certain tables, they're going to be busy all the time. There's going to be people lined up trying to sell stuff to them. And after a while, you'll sit there and wait for 10 minutes, and finally you just move on.
yeah, it's, again, I'd like to see what Ryan's got, Card Collector 2, because he usually has a bunch of, it seems like the video pickups a bunch of just random shit, along with a lot of the hot garbage. RBI Crew, I want to see what they've got and say hi to them, because I know they're going to be fucking insanely busy no matter what. So I guess it's going to be, hey, what's going on? Let's get a quick pick, and then you guys go on your way, because I know you're going to make hay. I know. So if we meet up, we see each other, that's great. See, back in the day, Evolution Sports Marketing was a huge dealer on eBay, and they had a big thing. Big Boyd had a big thing there. Probstein didn't have as big of a stranglehold as they do now.
No, it's funny because so back in oh man, when I first started, I went to that national when I was 11, and then I probably didn't go to my next one until it was 07 or 08.
Okay.
And so back then, this was before Probstein was, the Probstein that everybody knows now. This was during the time, if you were going to consign something with him, he would call you. He would personally call you. And that's just the way it was back then, because he wasn't some, he was still a big consigner for eBay back then, but nothing what
Not
it is
even.
now. But he would always have it would be him set up there, and he would have a few people at his booth that worked for him, and they would be listing cards at the show. They had their computers set up and everything, and they would be working, at the show. So even back then, he was trying to get a leg up on people. But yeah, it's funny because you guys have all been around for a long time, so we knew a lot of these guys before they were big.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I ever met Ryan, Card Collector 2, was at one of these nationals, and he was walking around, buying cards. I think he said he probably had $500 he took with him to that show, just walking around, working the dollar boxes, just, So yeah, a lot of these people, you've kind of seen the evolution.
Well, RBI,
Yeah.
started in his dorm room and on Blog TV, and all of us who originated back then, so to speak, all supported him in some way, shape, form, or fashion to move towards his dream. And he's built a phenomenal business.
Yeah.
But
Joe Sapp's another one where Sappy Sports Cards, I think, is what his thing is now. I remember being one of his first customers, and because last time I didn't buy a VIP pass, which, pro tip, it's worth it, and it has nothing to do with getting to the show early. It's the ease of in and out, and because if you buy a general admission, you have to go through this long hallway, and it's just annoying as all get out. So out of pure convenience, VIP is worth it.
Yeah.
But I ran into him, and he's like, "You don't have a VIP pass?" I was like, "No." And he goes, "Well, I have 2 extra." And he gave me one. He goes, "You were one of my first customers. I never forgot that." I was like, "That's awesome," But yeah, there's a lot of these people you'll see here, and you'll be like, or sometimes you'll look at them, and you'll be like, "Why do I know you?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember, you guys probably remember this too, but Burbank used to be known as the people on eBay that would have overpriced cards that wouldn't send you a back scan.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it used to be like, "Crap, Burbank has it. I'll never get it."
Yes.
Yep.
And you would ask them, "Can I see a scan of the bag?" They'd be like, "We don't have time for that."
Yep.
That's kind of what they were known for. And now look at them, They're pretty wild. You get to see a lot of interesting things over the years. People end up in places you never thought they would be.
work for a card shop, and it's amazing how some of the shit that you hear. that is a cutthroat business.
Yeah.
Owning a card shop and working at one and realizing how cutthroat it can be, because everybody is trying to win business in a specific area.
Yeah.
If you have 10, 12 shops within, a 50-mile, 75-mile radius, everybody's freaking trying to snag business from the other because they're trying to keep themselves relevant. And that's not the best choice of words, but at the end of the day, that's ultimately what it boils down to. And me growing up as a kid, I still remember the main shop that I used to go to, and it was damn near 20 miles from where I lived as a kid. And they eventually went out of business because, one, instead of consistently moving cards, they had like 2 showcases that were quote unquote personal collection. And they focused too much on trying to to build a collection, so to speak, within the shop that wasn't for sale instead of selling shit.
Yeah. None of their good stuff was for sale.
And then, of course, here comes the internet. They chose to not move themselves into the digital age.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shops out there that don't, at least there was, they do nothing online related and they still thrive. It's unlikely, but because they have clientele that spend buku bucks, they don't need to go online. And then there's others that it's like they tried to grow too fast. They got in over their head. They took out loans, couldn't pay back loans. And of course, poof, they default on loans and they're gone.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stories, man. I got a lot of stories.
that part of what happened is a whole long story there.
I've heard some interesting stuff, and it's all local based. But even then, I know stuff about certain distributors. It's crazy some of the shit that you hear because working for a shop in whatever capacity, when owners start trusting you, it's like they don't know how to shut up. Because most of them run it by themselves. If the business is pretty substantial, then they may have a few other employees. But for the most part, it's like they run it by themselves. They have nobody to talk to other than their customers. And you can only share so much with the customer, but you work for them and you do shit on the side. Boy, it's amazing the shit that you hear. Amazing some of the shit that you hear.
There's a lot of stuff, like, especially like in some of those early, like 08, 09, 10, 11, like some of those nationals, like, this was during a time where, things were kind of slow at those shows compared to now. Like, but there's a lot of stuff that I saw and heard at those shows that, you kind of wish you wouldn't have seen or heard, just because you don't want to believe that some of that stuff that you hear is true, but some of that stuff you see it firsthand and you're like, dang man, I just kind of thought that was like some crazy stories that people were saying, but no, some of that stuff really happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will share this because I've shared it before. Some may or may not recall or pay attention, but when Burbank got a substantial jump in their inventory counts, I know where that came from. And I'll leave it at that.
Oh, no. Like I'm waiting.
No, I'll leave it at that.
And then
I'll leave it at that. But I know how they acquired it.
So half of it came from Dave. Where'd the other half come from?
Yeah.
No, none of it came from Dave. None of it came from Dave. But like at the time, it was 1.2 unique, but I think it was a total of almost 4 million cards. I know exactly where it came from.
That's a lot of cards.
So
it was just a collector, or was it like a
no
hobby shop or business, something?
It was a shop.
Yeah. Okay.
It pertains to some of the stuff I said previously. I don't want to go into detail,
There's a lot of
but that's how Burbank got a substantial jump in their inventory numbers.
but see, it's kind of like it's hard to explain to like new people because some of the stuff that is like totally frowned upon by everyone now was common back then. Like people just did it out in the open, because it was just accepted. Like, and so it's just different times. Like there's no way they could do some of the stuff they did back then just out in the open now. They probably do it behind the scenes, but it was just like, it's like nobody cared. Like dealers back then, you could give them some cards and they would just walk right back to PSA, like go back there behind the curtain. And they were with them while they were grading them,
Mhm.
that happened a lot. And everybody knew.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure it probably still happens now too. I mean, I think people would be naive to think that stuff like that doesn't go on.
Oh yeah.
They may not always get the favorable grades type situation, even though there is always that speculation that some people get favorited. But me personally, to me, it's too speculative anyways. Because if you look at, for instance, and I don't think that this is happenstance. Nat Turner owns PSA. Fresh back from PSA 8. So if the owner of the company can't garner 10s across the board, because let's face it, it's still a reputation. PSA has name recognition. They have a reputation. If that were the case, then basically what purpose does PSA serve? It still has to be subjective. So it doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter who it is. It's all, granted, there is still truth to the fact that some graders grade harder than others based on their guidelines. Everybody knows this. But there's still guidelines.
I think in 99.9% of the time, I think you're right. But there is that 0.1% of people where it does matter who they are. And every company has those people.
It's kind of common sense. If you spend $1 million with a company and one guy spends $1,000 with the company, you're bound to get some special treatment.
You may get some, but it's still within the guidelines. They just may loosen the guideline a little bit.
Yeah.
The problem is that their scale is too loose to dictate certain grades. Because if it was a definitive practice, the same card going to 10 different graders should get the same grade every time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That means that there is too much of a loose interpretation of certain guidelines that dictate a grade.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Well, see, I have a theory on that though. Because
let's hear it.
We all complain about stuff like that and we all say that it's a problem, but I think deep down we kind of like it that way. Because it makes it more interesting. Like I'm not into like the AI stuff. Like I don't want like computers grading everything, and I want there to be like I want there to be like some people that get destroyed and they have to get pissed off about their grades. And I mean, we need that kind of stuff, right? It keeps it interesting. Like we need some kind of like some kind of chaos. Like you can't just like we say we want everything perfect, but it would be so boring if it was.
But that's not content, Andy. That's drama.
Yeah.
You're right. That is drama.
But then again, here at the IRP, we know it's not all, rainbows, unicorns, and toilet flower cards here. We talk reality and the humdrum of the truth of what it is within the space. we're not all Mr. Positivity
Yeah.
because there is no all positivity. That's in every space. That's in every collectible. That's in every hobby. No matter what it is, it's not all positive. And the fact of the matter is, the positivity police have issues with the fact that we're spitting reality and taking away from their positivity. Well, fuck you, dude. This is the truth. You know, if we're trying to grow the hobby, whether it be new people coming in or kids, you got to give you got to be transparent. You got to give them everything. Because if you don't, you're setting them up for disappointment. And then you turn them off and then they disappear.
Yeah. but
Some of them that's okay. That's quite okay. We want some of them to disappear. But those who come into the space and actually become a collector, that's ultimately what most of us want. We want more collectors in the space.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of channels and companies out there. Yeah, they absolutely don't want you messing with their positivity. They have reasons for that positivity.
Well, of course. But you know what we do to those reasons, Andy? We shit on those reasons here.
That's what I thought you were going to say. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I thought that was
That's how we are. It's
Oh, see, Paul C., that's a great comment, dude. I watched a video of somebody's PSA reveal, and I'd never seen this guy before. It's just like one of those random recommended videos. I guess I had watched some PSA reveals before, so YouTube thinks I need to watch all of them that ever get to it. But this guy, he was complaining about every card. First off, he sent in like 45 cards. I think 90% of them were like 7s and below that he got back. And these were like cards that a lot of them wouldn't have been worth the cost of grading if he got 10s on them, to be honest. He was getting like 6s and 7s and 5s. And there was one of them in particular. He got a 5 on one and he got like an 8 or a 9 on the other copy. The same card, 2 different copies. And he's like, "What's the difference between these two?" And he turns them over, and the 5 has like this huge, gigantic, like spider crease through it. And he still, I guess he never saw it still, like as he's complaining. I'm like, how do you not see that, man?
well,
That was one of the things that was happening. That's why they were so backed up, because people, they were just sending everything. Like they weren't even looking at it. They were just sending it in.
people not realizing that the grade is, they look at the front and the back. You know, new people coming into the space and it's like, oh shit, this card raw is $10, but if I grade it and it comes back at 10, it's 1,000. And they don't realize what qualifications there are that dictates various grades.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't do the research or ask the questions and take the time, then go waste more money and get your fucking self out of Dodge.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
and they also thought that every card that they opened from a pack was automatically going to be a 10.
Nope.
And
Eight
man,
is pretty much the minimum. Pack fresh is typically is 8. I mean, that's the norm.
yeah.
That's the norm.
Well, some of
At
these,
a minimum, you pull a card out of a pack, you should get at least an 8.
some of these products they've came out with the last couple of years have had the quality control of like 71 tops. You know, it's like
This is
they're
true.
miscut off. I mean, just ridiculous. Some of the stuff, and people are paying out the wazoo for it. It's a shame on some of those products, because man, I would be pissed if I paid like $500-$600 for a box of that. And first off, you didn't give me anything worth $5, and then second off, it'd be like miscut. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's off, top to bottom and left to right.
On both sides. Thankfully, those were freebies in a pack. They were filler, and I'm like, well, makes sense why it is. So off to PSA we'll go tomorrow.
Oh, of course, of course. It's out of a pack. You gotta send it in.
Just don't be pissed off when it comes back at 5.
I'm gonna be. Yeah, I'm gonna rant.
Do any of you guys? Do you ever grade any of your own cards? Like, do you ever send cards in yourself?
I am taking some cards to national, and I'm leveraging the eye of Sir Bob Lewis because he does a lot of grading for himself.
Mhm.
So he's got a pretty good eye and can clean up some cards and stuff. I'm not taking a lot, but I'm using his eye and his grading knowledge, and they're going to be dropped off. I'm not getting them back while I'm there. It's the simple drop off, normal 30, 40 day return type situation. But I'm going to see how it goes. I have a few other cards that I may leverage. Card Cave Central, Manny, who does a lot of group submissions. I may also be willing to give our good friend Paul P. Daz a shot because he's starting to do some group submissions. I don't know enough about it to feel good enough to do it myself. So I would rather levy the experience of those that have done it for a while to where I know something where it's like I'm not going to be the one to fuck it up because I would probably fuck it up somehow, shape, form, or
Yeah.
fashion. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
for
only-
me, it's a lot of what I collect.
Right.
I collect low numbered patches, autographs. None of that freaking matters if it's graded. You know,
Yeah.
unless it is a 10, which most of that stuff is not.
No.
It just seems like a waste of time for me. You know?
Dude, like from what I've learned, like on the thicker patch cards, like the exquisite type stuff, like if BGS, if they give this like an 8.5, PSA would give it like a 6.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They are brutal on like thicker cards, PSA is.
Yeah.
But you know, if you like them, like I like this card, I'll probably get this graded by PSA just because most of my other ones are graded by PSA. So like I don't really care what the grade is. It
Yep.
doesn't really matter to me.
A lot of people just like conformity. They like it to be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've gotten better at that over the years. Like I have some SGC stuff, and I like SGC. They're okay for vintage, but modern cards for whatever reason, I don't know. Just because I guess they just didn't grade them for so long. I mean, they did, but they didn't really.
Yeah.
So they just kind of look out of place to me. Still,
see, a part of me would be willing to grade some of my lower numbered Terrell Davis stuff from the collection, but I'd have it graded as authentic.
Yeah.
Just because it's now sealed and protected. Not that a mag doesn't do the job, but to have it sealed in a slab, it's better protected that way. Because, like for me, Brad, like you said, I mean, in that situation, grades don't matter. It's my collection. It's more from a protection perspective.
well, and depending on like what era of cards, like a lot of the stuff from the 90s, like the parallels and inserts, like to me, the main reason is like just the authentication in a lot of cases.
Mhm.
It's because
Problem is, you
there's
can't even get that number.
well, that's
That's the biggest problem with it. That's my biggest rant on grading. I have no problem with because if you grade something a 9 sometimes and 8 another time, that doesn't bother me.
yeah.
It's when you're actually grading a fake card. I'm like,
Yeah,
to
oh, yeah.
me, that is zero tolerance. Like zero. There shouldn't even be a 0.1% of that. Yeah, you know.
Like I know PSA and Beckett both kind of went through their phase, and it was like at different times where they got duped on a lot of like 90s stuff. And I think I think PSA for the most part, just from what I understand, just like some of the guys that I know that are still like heavily into like the 90s stuff, they've kind of cleaned it up a little bit, PSA. And I don't know. I mean, who knows what Beckett's doing these days? I really don't know.
About to be bought by Fanatics.
I mean, would they even want them at this point? I don't know.
Hey, this is speculation. I've said this on the show. I was right about Fanatics acquiring Tops. You heard it first here.
Like,
Yes, you did. It's the name.
That's right.
It's the name. So it's not about their issues or their lack of customer service. It's the name.
You don't have to build something up and put the time and the equity into that.
Exactly. You acquire the company, you acquire the name, you revamp, you add new people, you do whatever to try and bring them back to the level of standard that they once were.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
which was number
even
one
with
Mhm.
for a long time, 100%. BGS 9.5
Money.
was top of the line compared to a PSA 10 by hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
But because over the years, whether it be quality standards, whatever, Beckett, in my opinion, is now between number 3 and 4. Like I put SGC at number 2.
Yeah, for sure.
So like SGC has got a good thing going. It would make sense, but at the same time, I just don't see them going anywhere. Beckett has had a lot of issues as of late. I think they're primed for the picking. And with Fanatics trying to acquire multiple aspects of the space, it's only like, even when there was talks about them acquiring Panini America, at the end of the day, that did not make sense. Yes, there was talks. There was indigo. At the end of the day, it made no sense. So I knew that kind of was going to fall apart. I just had it in the back of my mind. I'm like, this is going to fall apart. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Tops made sense, and I nailed it. Now they've done so many things. They've snagged people from Panini America to help with the card space. What's next? They need something within the grading space. And Beckett right now is prime for the picking.
If I was them, I would. If I bought Beckett, I would be like, listen, we're gonna run it because you guys don't know how to.
Well, and they probably would. I mean, it would fall under the Fanatics umbrella. It would be under the Fanatics leadership. And at that point, who's to say that, Fanatics wouldn't jump in and start trying to steal people away from PSA or SGC or HGA or other grading companies? I mean, you saw them stealing employees from Panini.
Yeah.
They're trying to cement themselves to ensure that they are the future for not just the contractual terms of the associated licenses, but for years to come after that. They're wanting to be the one and only. And they can't be the one and only because Upper Deck will not go anywhere. Upper Deck will stay Upper Deck. That's another one I don't see happening. But if I'm not mistaken, I thought I read something, and maybe it was speculation, but Fanatics acquiring Leaf. I thought I read something that Fanatics acquired Leaf. Maybe it was a dupe. I don't know, but I read that somewhere.
I don't know. I mean, no offense to Leaf, but I just don't know why they would want Leaf.
Probably certain player contracts from an autograph perspective.
Yeah,
would be
that's
my
probably,
guess.
yeah.
Leaf is still a recognizable brand for a lot of years because of Donruss Leaf playoff. Um, they've had some nice card designs and stuff. It's just with non licensed product. Some of it's a little garbage esque,
A lot of it.
but but they do have something to bring to the table.
They
Yeah,
got Brian Gray.
they get creative. I'll give them that. I mean, with because like I said, it's got to be tough without the licenses to do a lot of stuff that they would like to do, but they somehow have hung around, and I guess they make money. They're profitable, which at the end of the day is all that they care about.
Well, and Leaf has had their issues though too with authentication related fake autographs. Take it for what it's worth, because at the end of the day, all it takes is one person to speculate that something was fake, and then it causes a major uproar. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's the issue in this. I'm going to say this. The issue I have with autograph authentication is that they are never, ever, ever going to be 100% accurate. Ever. Ever. Because one, for instance, my own guy has 3 different autographs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or does he?
one of them could be easily faked.
Yeah.
Others, although are good to the untrained professional, i.e., somebody who collects a player would probably know better than others. Like even for me, I've collected TD forever and a day, it seems. And I could probably even be duped. Even though I've seen a ton of his autographs, I could probably be duped. But it wouldn't be on a card, because I know for the most part every card that's been autographed by him. I pretty much know him. It would be like the in-person stuff. But that's also where that third autograph comes in. And you can always tell when somebody's in a hurry when they're signing autographs. It's not the normal autograph.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that I've seen that are quote unquote in person is the third autograph, but I've seen enough of them from various dealers in Denver to know that it's probably legitimate in certain situations, but it would still be very easy to fake, which is why I don't buy unlicensed, unauthenticated autographs either. But even then, how did they all? We're taking somebody's word just because, it says this was authenticated or signed, blah, blah, blah in front. How do we know that's 100% accurate? We weren't there. We're taking their word for it. We're putting the trust in the people that dictate and say it's authentic.
I think the way that they treat autograph cards now, like with the ultra modern stuff, I think that if they keep doing that, I think that the autograph cards going forward could kind of go the way of the napkin jersey, where people don't really care that much anymore because they're just signing too many. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah, when you have back in the Be a Player days and you had the 1 per pack auto, and it's like, well, yeah, that's great, but then you absolutely kill the lure of the autograph.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to go back to the days of the odds where you actually had pack odds on there. Again, that gives away the production amount to a degree. But in the same sense, then as a collector, you feel a little better about, okay, autographs. Now we go through the sell sheet, and These 10 hockey players. There's a 30-card set. You got 10 legends, you got 10 established stars, and you got 10 either rookie, up-and-coming, under-the-radar guys. Okay, maybe the veterans are going to be a little easier. Established guys are the tough ones. The rookies are the middle ground. But, I mean, you have a number there. Instead of just, like, throwing everything everywhere, one-a-box autos. You have to... And it's going to... At times, you want to say Panini with Prisms tried to do it. They've just oversaturated with all the parallels. But trying to go back to having, like, the parallel be part of, like, the main chase. In that regard, it should be, like, 8 to 10. And the inserts. But, I mean, I feel so much in the sense that they're trying to push now, like, the case hits for, like, the Color Blast and all the other, the kabooms and downtowns and all that shit.
They have those in like every product though. It's
That's the problem. I mean, there's nothing unique to something.
No.
And that's where it's like, okay, Topps Chrome had the refractor, so you'd always look. I mean, yeah, Finest did too, but Topps Chrome was where you looked for the refractor more so. Finest, you looked for the embossed, the gold, or whatever it was. You looked for the multicolor refractor or the multi-tiered color refractor. Chrome, you look for the refractor. You look for specific things in specific products because that's how they marketed back then. It's like, I know I want a UD exclusives because I know those are going to be tough to find. I want an MVP superscript that's the 25. I fucking know those are going to be impossible to find. I want a pro sign out of there because I know that's their autograph. I want an autographics because that's Fleer's autograph. And even if it goes over like multitude of sets, you know something somewhere. And now it's like everything's everywhere and there's no, I don't even want to say exclusivity, but I mean, for the collectors of our ilk, we don't want to find a downtown and fucking a goddamn poise pad package or fucking tampon package. I'm like, you don't need every Panini product to have the ability to pull these.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way. And that's how autographs are. I mean, I'm like, well, you get one autograph of Blaster and it's like fucking some like one-legged fucking ball boy. Like a Make-A-Wish thing. It's like, I don't need that dude's autograph. Why is he in here? Why is like the head cheerleader that has like a beard in there for an autograph? I don't want that. What? Where are just like normal folks that I don't need a punter from Valdosta State having an autograph. To the 4 people that know that person, that's great. Number it to 4 so each one of those people can have one. But making the stuff special, at least with like the Tom Brady stuff, it's all like what, to 5, 10, maybe to 25 at the most. You're not just like, oh, here's this Tom Brady number to 1,000. Like, no, you need to number and actually serial number the shit. Not fuck around with like, well, there's only like an SPR. No stated print runs. Fucking number on there. Put in the fucking sell sheet. Hey, 8 of these Tom Bradys. That's it. Done. We got 2 variations. One's whatever that I can't even think. The champagne swirls for Panini. What's the
Finite. Oh, vinyl.
the vinyl? You have a gold vinyl that's to 1, and you've got I don't know.
The Black Phoenix.
A purple people eater to 3. So there you are. You've got 11 cards out of this specific set that you can get instead of pulling everything everywhere and hey, I just bought a fucking pound of hamburger. Here's a kaboom! Holy shit! What do you know? No, just
What kind of like reception would they get if they came out with a product like 91 Donruss, where the only chase card in it is like the elites? And
mhm.
if you looked at the pack odds, it should just say impossible.
Yes.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're never going to pull one. And they're
Better
numbered,
luck sleeping with a supermodel. I mean, you're not gonna fucking have one.
they're numbered
Ever.
to 10,000, but you're never going to get one.
And there's like 10 cards. There's like a million of them, or 100,000, or whatever the numbering would be. It's like you got that many cards out there, plus the autograph, and plus the legend.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find them in a pack. Ever.
I opened so much of that stuff as a kid. I never pulled one of those elite cards ever.
Of course you did, because they were, like you said, damn near impossible.
They were impossible for me. I never pulled one.
Vinny just must have been lucky. Him and his 4.
You pulled 4 of those? Like in baseball?
Hockey.
Hockey? Were they easier in hockey?
No,
No?
no. Much harder because there was less of a print run.
Well, baseball.
Less,
You would probably
less print run should have made it actually easier to pull.
Yeah, it's probably easier.
Yeah, because baseball, they probably printed like 10 million of each card.
100 million cases.
And it was like an 800 card set. So it's like,
I pulled what was it, 95, 96. I opened a box with my daughter and I pulled the Lemieux. About lost my mind. It's like there's like no feeling like that when you pull an elite of the guy that you collect. It was a memorable night.
did you guys ever pull like a PMG or anything?
Brock Besser, not anything fancy, but
I never did back in the 90s, no.
Oh. But then I didn't see a ton of metal back then. 98 I did. 97 I didn't. And then the rookie class in 97 led a lot to be desired too.
Yeah, I saw Michael Moeller. He bought a single box of 97 off of eBay. And this is like when they were like $100, $110 a box. And I saw him pull a red PMG of Olajuwon.
Okay.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just out of a single random box off of eBay.
Yeah. Graded, that's, $15,000 or some shit.
Yeah, probably. Is now. I don't know what he sold it for. He sold it for, I don't know. He probably sold it for like maybe 700 or 800 at the time. But I mean, that's what they sold for then. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain things like I pulled a ruby, only one, and it happened to be Isaac Bruce, and that's sitting in Scott 2244's collection, I hope.
that's pretty cool.
But only one, and it was like amazing to me knowing how rare those were in 97, because that wasn't a one a case thing either. I don't think. I don't remember exactly what the stated odds, but they were tough. And everybody was pushing for PMGs, and then all of a sudden, out of the middle of nowhere, everybody started talking about rubies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rubies and
Because-
credentials really got popular.
Because rubies are technically rarer than a PMG red. Both sports, both basketball and football. A ruby was much more rare than a PMG.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And even some of the credentials, because in 97, credentials were numbered to 100.
Yeah.
So
The essential
And-
credentials.
the essential credentials, yes.
Yeah.
they were still tough pulls, but they were numbered to 100. Ruby was still numbered to 50.
Yeah.
The only time did that change is when they started introducing, essential credentials then and now with the varying numbers. It was still numbered to 100, but, one was numbered to a higher number than the other. So it was the reverse.
I like the concept of like if they would do something like credentials, like, now and future, but like they need to like come up with something different to call it. Like quit just redoing the credentials. Like come up with a different idea. You can use that same numbering system because I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, just like quit doing all this retro stuff. Like I get so tired of it.
It's the name recognition, though, Andy. That's the push of what sells the product, is because all these newer people know about PMGs and essential credentials and rubies and star power. Not what's the one from hockey? Ultra power, ultra what?
Oh, Ultra Stars or
Come on, you know what I'm talking about. You have a few, Dave.
StarQuest.
No, I'm not talking about the StarQuest Golds. But you have like the insert, and then you have the variation of the insert.
Medallions
No, not medallions.
out of Ultra.
I'm pretty sure they are.
That was the basketball, where it's like the super power, the star power, and
Superpowers.
yeah, that's Star Power
Like-
Supreme and
Like the Padman or whatever it was that you got some time ago. It's the superpower variation or whatever.
or metal. That was metal.
Whatever the fuck brand it was. But it's
Nomenclature.
Nomenclature. Nomenclature.
I don't fucking collect hockey. Go fucking
You're the Oracle. You're
Or-
the Oracle. Don't you me. I think when you start putting fingers up there, there's right back at you, brother.
Gabagool.
Yeah, gabagool.
I'm not the self-proclaimed oracle, so all of y'all can kiss my ass.
Come on now, this is a family show.
the set
Since
to me.
when? Since when? But the fact is, it's the name. It's the name power that drives the sales of the product, and that's what everybody wants. It's the name. It's like, oh shit, PMGs. It's in this product. Oh yeah, I gotta buy it because it's PMG. But it's not. It's not the same as what it once was. It's a complete and utter rehash.
Yeah,
But
the
people
sets that
fail
really
to-
took off over the last couple of years. They were always popular in basketball, but really baseball and football. The last, I would say, like 3 or 4 years is the Fleer Brilliance, the 24 karat golds. Like those
Yeah,
used to be
that's-
really cheap, like in baseball and football for a long time. I mean, relatively speaking.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one because that one still hurts to this day.
You don't have that one?
No. With the help of Dave, because there was like 22
25.
auctions or something listed, and it's like some of them were going off like too close together.
Oh, yeah.
So I reached out to Dave and I was like, "Hey, can you bid on a card for me?" And he's like, "Which one?" And I told him, and I was like, "This is what I'm thinking." He even went above what I told him I was thinking and still got blown the fuck out of the water. It hurt. It hurt bad.
I've always thought like those, to me, those look better than the PMGs.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. A lot cleaner design.
Yeah.
I mean, the PMGs, it's the etching.
Yeah.
But from a design perspective, the 24 karat golds definitely look a hell of a lot cleaner. They're a prettier card.
The PMGs kind of just like, it kind of just became like a status type thing, I think, to an extent, you know?
Yeah.
It's like for a lot of the, especially like in basketball, it's like, you know, it's almost like if you wanted to be taken seriously as the player collector of this guy, you had to have the PMG. You know?
That still hurts too. Because years ago, I had a chance to actually buy both a red and green of my guy for like $300 or $400 or some shit.
Now the greens in football are to 15, right? Is that right?
Is it to 15, Dave?
10.
Or is it 10?
10, because what is basketball's 15, isn't it? 'Cause
No,
it's one.
basketball. So if I remember right, in basketball, like there's 100 PMGs. The first 10 are green.
Yeah. Okay, then
That's what it is. Yeah. So football's 15.
Yeah,
15
so there's
is
150, right?
Yep. Because football's 150. Yep. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, okay,
But, I mean,
which one is it?
It's not like 15's a lot more than 10 though, so they're pretty tough.
Well,
Have you ever had one, Brad? Have you ever had a green of someone?
Not an old one.
Yeah.
I only have I have a new one in the new hockey, and those don't look nearly as good as the I have a green like Zach Rowinski out of the new metal, and it doesn't look anything like the old.
Dave has a green from 97.
Yeah, the green looks really good. I never thought the red looked all that good.
Who do you have?
Every one.
I got a Dilger.
Oh, Ken Dilger?
Yep.
Dolphin killer.
Yeah, I remember him.
I remember when he got it too. I remember like it was yesterday, and that was what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, because that would have been 2020. When I
Hey, look at this auction. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? And I'm like, yeah, you're seeing what you think you're seeing. And I was like, freaking.
Yeah, so
That
those
did-
don't pop.
yeah, it's not
They're not.
the other
open.
one.
What's the story on those? Like, are those numbered to like, what are they, to 10?
Yeah, they do it the same way.
Okay, yeah.
They number them to
So
100.
the first 10 are green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have the
It's just-
chipping because it ain't made the way it is, but you also it doesn't look as
Oh, freaking Brian.
Brian Taylor.
That's a recent addition.
Just because.
Those,
Yeah.
Yeah, those were cool. Those were all like hand numbered.
That was the big deal back in those days, man.
I looked up until he got to the bar fights.
Yeah.
I looked up the Topps Gold set. So I'm like, that's where the autograph came out of. And I know I've got one, but I'm like, that'd be cool to have a set. And those are like over $100. I'm like, it's not going to be that cool for a set. You see that at National for like 30 or 40, I'm like, that's something I can do. 100, that's. So there's Brian Taylor's autograph in there. No,
Yeah,
I got for like $6, $5 shipped. I'm like, 12-year-old me would have flipped out to see that for $5.
I remember one
Yeah.
time thinking it would be cool to grab some cool like Greg Jeffries cards. His stuff is kind of expensive.
That was one that people were just so high on back then.
Yeah, that's why I thought it'd be cool to like go back and get some of his stuff. But his stuff is actually sells pretty good. I thought he would be like really cheap, but some of his stuff is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that 88 Donruss was fucking.
And then the 89 tops, like the future stars,
Yep.
that one was really popular.
Here's one for 99 cents or best offer, Andy.
Too much.
Offer a penny, man. Offer
That's
a
gonna-
penny.
That's going to be like my big pickup at the National. I'm going to buy like an 89 tops Greg Jeffries.
PSA 7.
If I could find one, yeah. That'd be,
It's too funny.
I wouldn't mind having 7. That card.
Too funny.
That'll be the other thing too. I'll hate What are you looking for? What are you looking for if a dealer, or if you bump into, if we go to one of those trade nights just to see, not to use the correct nomenclature of what the vibe is, but just you have to see what's going on.
Right.
You have to see just this like stupidity, where it looks like probably, as Andy said, not like the businessmen of a Chicago, the future businessmen, but like I'd imagine the stock market floor. We got people just like fucking, instead of the tickets with like the stocks, it's
The
cards.
Yeah.
People are just like running around with cards. Hearing the phrase, well, what are you looking for? Josh Johnson, Josh McCown. Well, anybody else?
Who?
Or that'll be the first one. Anybody else? And I have a really nice insert name here. I didn't bring with me. It's like, no, you don't. Don't fucking lie. You don't have. What sport does this guy play? Dennis Northrup. What did he play? Curling? No. Just keep on moving.
Jace Morrow. Come on.
Yeah, Jason Morrow. Do you have one of the superfractors I don't have?
Actually, as a matter of fact, I do. It's from blah blah. No, you don't, because I already have that one. But nice try.
Here we are.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that
Wait,
gonna
wait.
grab this card and show you guys here.
Do you have any hockey cards?
Yeah.
Mhm. I should get a lot of responses with that.
So
they're gonna say, I got field hockey.
I mentioned this card on the Hobbypalooza thing. So this is like I literally keep this in my wallet. '89 Tops, Monty Ferris. My dad got this signed. He saw him, like, I think he was at a rodeo in Elk City, Oklahoma.
Wasn't he an Oklahoma State guy?
Yeah, he went to high school like 20, 30 minutes from where I grew up. So like we actually played them in sports, like where he went. He was like a small school kid. But yeah, like, so I keep that in my wallet. And then let's see.
Another failed Ranger prospect? No, that's
And then
not a thing.
here's the other card. Like, this was my dad's favorite band, Grand Funk Railroad.
Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that before. I don't know if we talked about it texting or not.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know you and I have talked about music several times. Yeah, I've seen them in concert like 7 or 8 times. They still play. Yep. See, they're talking there. There, Stuke knows them. That's like one of the most popular songs, American Band.
Can't say I know them.
Yeah, they were, they're 70s rock. So they were a little bit before our time, but that's what my dad listened to when I was a kid. So that's what I listened to, because kids nowadays, man, they have it easy. They have like their headphones and stuff. Like when you went places with your parents, you listened to what they wanted to listen to.
Yes. Yeah, you weren't dictating what was on the car radio. You were sitting down and shutting the fuck up.
And then when you got home, not only did you watch what they wanted to watch, you also functioned as the remote.
Yes.
I've watched all the Little House on the Prairies.
And it sucked dialing them rotary phones.
Oh. Especially when it was like an 8 or a 9. Oh.
Yep, you would dread anything that had 8s and 9s in it. And if you didn't go all the way, dee-dee-dee.
Fuck.
God, we're old.
But yeah, but the fact of the matter is, think of all the. I know we just like completely got off topic, but which is not uncommon. Think of all the advancements though that we experienced as we grew up, though, compared to our kids and future generations. If you put things into perspective,
Yeah.
we experienced a ton of advancements.
Yeah, some pretty big ones too. I mean, like, the internet, that's a pretty big one.
Well, the microwave,
VR.
the VCR, we saw, the compact disc.
Like, I was thinking the other day about this actually, and one of the things that popped into my head is like, other than like maybe the only thing I could think of is maybe like the invention of electricity. Like, other than that, has there been anything that's changed the world as much as the internet? Just the way that we live. It's pretty deep, huh? You didn't think I had that?
Cars,
You didn't think I had that?
cars,
How many hours
Air travel.
Think of that?
I'm always thinking about stuff, guys. Yeah.
The only other thing that would have been significant though would be the invention of the car
Yeah.
and air travel.
Yeah.
Because without electricity, you can't run a light bulb. So, I mean, I guess you could also
I thought
maybe the
electricity was
telephone.
pretty huge. That's pretty big.
100%. 100%. Because without electricity, there's a lot of things that you can't do. So,
Right.
I mean, there's others.
Most
But
of
I
the
mean,
stuff
from a,
we couldn't do.
well, Dave, we are coming up on 3 hours. I know it's hard to believe. Feels like we've only been doing this for a little bit.
You can kind of tell that these are like hour 3 topics that we're getting into.
Well, not always, but it's one of those in which we've had 3 shows and talking about food. I feel like we've we've run the gambit on food.
We had like a 3-hour show and we talked about food for probably like 15 minutes.
Typical IRP show, though.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
I still want
It's
still
tough
want
for us.
Indian food.
Like me and Brad, how are we supposed to follow Ed on here last week? I mean, he's like,
That's true.
the food.
We were
minded.
destined to fail, Andy.
I think they were setting us up, Brad, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like we got duped. You guys agree? We all got duped?
Nah.
Man, we're throwing them all in there tonight.
Yeah.
So I do have to ask though before we wrap up. Andy, Brad, you both Wednesday through Sunday or what?
Yeah, I leave Sunday morning.
I'll actually get there on Tuesday and leave Saturday, like midday, I think, Saturday. When I fly back.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What about you guys?
We're there Wednesday to Sunday, but I don't think we'll end up at the show at all on Sunday. Because checkout is 10 and Dave's got a longer drive than what Vinny and I do. But I don't fly back until Monday early afternoon.
Oh wow.
So I fly into Michigan on Tuesday afternoon. Then we drive Wednesday to the show, and then we come back Sunday, and then I fly out pretty much the same time that I flew out on Tuesday. Kind of worked out that way. Kind of interesting. My flight times are about the same.
Yeah, I think I actually get there like Tuesday morning. So I'll have some time to, just kind of mess around and stuff before the show, really.
Well, it'll be. I mean, it's going to be fun, I think, for us though, because the week of the show will be our first Tuesday episode in some time, and we will all. So I'll be sitting to Vinny's right on Tuesday, the week of the show, and Dave will be elsewhere as well. So we will all be, well, I can't say all of us will be doing the show remotely because Vinny will be sitting right there where he always does.
Be on location.
Two of the three of us will be doing the show remotely from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll be what
Looking-
20, probably 25 minutes south of Scott. So over right by Green Bay, and yeah, it's
Yeah, that's another dude I'm looking forward to seeing. Scott, like he didn't go last year, so it'll be good to see him.
Anybody know if Bart's coming?
I don't think Bart's coming.
I just wonder. You hear the grumblings of who's coming and who's not.
Yeah. No, I think Bart said early on that he wasn't going to be able to go. Yeah, Bart's a cool dude. He came to one of the Dallas shows one time, so I got to hang out with him some. He's super nice, dude.
I think I stumbled across Saul BD Kane originally was going to go, and then he put up a video to sell his ticket because he wasn't going to be able to go.
Oh, really?
I think I stumbled across that.
Yeah, there's always every year, there's people that have intentions of going, but some, stuff comes up for people. So
Life happens. Adulting sucks, so they say.
oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
10-hour drive to Chattanooga tomorrow should be loads of fun.
I don't envy you.
I've never had a fun 10-hour drive to anywhere.
No, it becomes fun usually when you get there.
That's when it's fun.
I mean, I drove 18 hours to Florida last year. Not in one go.
yeah.
almost 11 hours the first leg, and then the remaining the next day. But that was still.
I've driven to a national in Cleveland before, which I think was like 14 or 15 hours from here, something like that.
See, if I knew like that would help kind of keep some costs low. I mean, I'd drive up to Oklahoma City and I'd ride with you out there because it's different if you have companionship for that road trip.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing it by yourself, it's like, ugh.
Honestly, like what I've learned anyway is like if you book your flight fairly early, it's really not any cheaper to drive.
With some of the gas prices, you're probably not far off.
Yeah, because if you book your flight fairly early, you usually get a decent price. Like it's only like a 2-hour flight from here too, and I'm to the point now where I would just, even if it is a little bit more to fly, I would rather fly. 2 hours versus like 14 or whatever.
Yeah, like Cleveland next year, it's only 2 hours for me, and I'm still trying to figure out how not to drive there. But
if it was 2 hours, I would drive. That's it's like 3 hours or something when I go to like that Dallas show that's in Allen.
Yeah.
Here, so that's not bad. I don't mind those kind of drives.
And what's sad is Allen is east of me, and it still would take me over an hour to get there.
Yeah.
Based on where I live.
Well, I mean, freaking Texas, like you could drive 24 hours, in your state, you still be in Texas.
It's not that bad.
I think if you go from one end to the other, I think you really could.
I think it's a little over 16 hours.
Is it?
Because from here to El Paso is between 13 and 14. And then to Louisiana from like where I am is 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would still be a hike. It's not a hop, skip, and a jump by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not quite 24 hours, but it's a long haul.
I've always thought it was funny because like You know, when OU and Texas play in the Cotton Bowl, it's actually closer for OU to drive there than it is for Texas.
Yeah. Because Austin's 4 hours.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The campground in Texas.
Yep. Texoma.
Yep.
I love Lake Texoma. That's where I would love to retire. Lakefront on Texoma. Got a ways for that though. Probably another 40 years if I'm lucky.
Oh God, 40.
I'm exaggerating, but
I think Howard quit before then.
hey, I'm coming up on 20 years at the same place, so it's just crazy to think. But, all right, Dave, 3 hours. Wrap us up.
Well, thank you for Brad jumping in. Andy for finally getting on the show after all these years. Everybody for commenting. Again, makes it a hell of a lot easier when shit's brought up, and not really at a standstill, but easy to segue and out of something into something else. So again, we've beaten the food thing to death. Maybe next week we'll have a Yelp review, something like that. I don't know. Do the best Indian food, because we're going to an Indian place. Indian food's the fucking best. No, nobody wants to go. God damn it. I'm gonna find some. I want to eat it on the fucking show floor. You're like, what's that smell? It isn't your ass. And I'm like, it's my Indian food. It's fucking delicious.
You're like, what's
You
that
do
smell? And you'll be like, it was Indian food. At one point.
You do have your own vehicle, Dave. It's not like we're all attached at the hip.
I know. I'm aware. But I just gotta hope it's around there, because I'm not gonna go like an hour one way to get some Indian food and fucking come back. As much as I want Indian food. Maybe the food truck fest will have that.
If we make it work. Like I said, it's on the agenda. I mean, we're trying to keep things kind of easy. Like, we're not committing to anything specifically on any given day. No, and like I said, I mean that could be a lot of fun, but at the same time, how much food are you actually going to be able to enjoy?
You'd be surprised.
This is true. I forgot who I'm talking to.
These are dainty bites, and like I'm not having the plate that's basically drizzled with chocolate, and like, ooh, look at the presentation. I don't care about the presentation as long as it tastes good.
That's fair.
But yeah, also weather too. You never know.
Yep.
I'll have to watch my radar, which is very adept at
Good
doing.
at. Yeah. Speaking of which, where was my fair warning of this random fucking thunderstorm that came through? About 45 minutes before the show started with like 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Where were you then?
Watching, I don't know what we're watching. Watching some React thing to trying to do stupid Guinness Book of World Record things. Naomi and I probably were watching that. Again, can't watch the videos about cards, but I'll watch that on YouTube. But I've said too before, get home from work, the last thing, and it's not because I don't want to watch any of the collectors out there. It's just like, I don't even want to fucking think. If I got to watch somebody trying to do whatever it was, like a fingertip clap push-ups, try to break a record, and they're not going to do it, I'm like, I'll watch that because I don't have to think. If somebody's trying to teach me about cards, it's like I'm watching it, but
Yeah, you
It'd
got to
be
be in the right frame of mind. You got to be in the right mood.
It's in that after work, after softball, it's like, no, I am. Then it was a Russian car crash video. I was right after that. So I mean, and then there's some storm chasing, but that was out in like Colorado and I think the Dakotas and Nebraska. Nothing done by Moore, Oklahoma, which I've watched more videos on that and El Reno than anyone human should.
I mean, there's some crazy content about those tornadoes.
Oh my God, I could, that stuff I can watch probably more so than anything else. Like even wrestling, Mystery Science Theater 3000, sports cards. I will watch well produced, good tornado storm chasing videos and anything by James Spann out of Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, ABC 3340. What was it? April 27th, 2011. There's two videos, two long videos that are on YouTube. One's like 8 hours and one's like 6. I've probably watched both of them a good 8 to 10 times.
Wow.
I know more about the fucking layout of like the western part and the middle part of Alabama than anybody should. Like I know where the Tom Bigby meets the Sipsey River and down by Demopolis in Utah, and it's reform. It's a waste of time, but again, stuff
It's
like that.
interesting stuff.
But anyway, tangent number 7,000. Put it on your bingo card, fellas. Thank you guys for joining. Like, comment, subscribe, become a member. We need to. No, I haven't watched it yet, Paul. I'll put that on the list. I'll put that on Steve's watch later list.
Very zen.
I'm sure she did. I am sure she did, Paul. If you get that on like your tombstone, that would be apropos. Here lies Paul. Betsy had an abscess.
Break out the cavalcade.
Yeah. So until next week, for Brad, Andy, Vinny, Steve, I'm Dave. This has been the Instant Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, it's a wonderful hobby. The friendships you forge along the way, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.